All right, guys, welcome back to another live stream of Armbars and Suplexes. I am your host, Alec Miller. You can find me on Twitter right there. Oh, dang, I did it again. It's been too long. At Alec Miller 0423. As always, joined with Jesus. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? You guys can find me at the real Jesus on Twitter, and that is spelled as always JEEZUS.
Yes, and we're back. We took a little hiatus. One, not a lot was going on. Two, scheduling and all that stuff was kind of getting in the way, but we figured because of everything that's going on in terms of sports is going to start picking up soon. UFC being the first one to jump into it, basically head first, and show the other sports leagues that hey, this can happen, this can work. Because personally, I think the crowdless UFC events are definitely working. I like it. I think I like it a little more. And give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. My son was throwing a plastic ball all over the floor and it's making a lot of noise. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in terms of sports. We just found out that the NBA is going to pick up on July 31st with 22 teams. Was it 22 teams?
22 teams,
Yeah, 22 teams.
more in the West and in the East. And you can go ahead and crown them the scoring champ for this year, James Harden.
And I mean, you can also crown us the champions because we like asterisks next to our championships. We love asterisks next to our championships. It's fun.
That's what we do. That's what we're gonna do.
So why not win this one? But yeah, so we have the NBA coming back soon. It seems like the NFL is basically going to be picking up like with no problems. Just I think at first digital training camp, and then eventually going back to the facility. So sports starting to pick up. It's starting to look a lot more like this whole I mean, obviously it's still bad. The pandemic is people are still getting the coronavirus and getting COVID-19, but it seems like things are starting to pick up a little more. Like just this past weekend, we went to Galveston just for a day. It was supposed to be one thing we're supposed to do, but it ended up changing and we made a day of it. Went to Galveston, had a good time, and social distance. But
was it, man? Was it packed?
Yeah, it was packed, but like not in the normal way. I guess packed now is different. It has a different definition of what it normally is. Back then, packed on Galveston is, everyone up close to each other and all that stuff. But like packed now to me is like everyone is there's a lot of people there, but it's very spaced out. You have a lot of space to work with. So, not bad. It was a good time.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you mentioned, everything's getting back to somewhat normal. Actually, like they keep saying, a new normal. I guess we just needed that time to learn how to social distance and how to, be apart from people, not too close, and use masks. Everybody use masks everywhere they go. But like you said, it's not over, man. I mean, it's not over by any stretch. There's been no vaccine, no cure, no nothing. So still got to be careful out there, man.
Yeah, definitely. And before we get started into what this whole podcast is about, I just want to take a minute to just mention what's going on in our country in the past week with the protest for George Floyd and his family. Personally, it's something. It's been a thing of beauty that I've seen to see everyone coming together. Shit happens in these protests, and it's unfortunate, especially when you know that it's mostly instigators that are trying to make things look bad. But I will say that I at least for a large part of, I think it was Tuesday, I was very proud of our city of Houston with the almost 60,000 people in Discovery Green for George Floyd and his family. It was something a beauty to see. I can't talk about other places because I haven't seen all of the stuff, all of the things that are happening there. I've heard some good things, I've heard some bad things, but I can say for our city of Houston, I was very proud, especially proud of our chief of police, our Acevedo, with some of the things. I would love that he was even being mentioned on shows like Undisputed and First Take about the speeches that he was giving. So I just want to say that I stand with you. We stand with you here at Armbars and Suplexes. I've actually made it a point to stop being silent on Twitter on Instagram or wherever, and to stop being silent, because that is part of the problem. And we have to start speaking up, guys. As a man who is white, half Hispanic, I have a certain privilege, and I need to use that privilege to speak out against injustices like George Floyd. So I just wanted to put that out there and send all the love to his family.
Yeah, man. Likewise, I'm 100% Hispanic, but I do look white. I have a very white complexion, so I have had some benefits for that in my life. But yeah, man, you know, the what happened to George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor is just, you know, part of the problem. It is the problem. It's what continues to happen. You know, it's almost like every month or every week there's somebody that gets shot or killed needlessly. You know, and that's the whole point. Like, there's no reason for any of this. It's just, you know, systemic racism. And like you said, the protests, there are some instigators, but for the most part, from what I've seen, it's peaceful protests. And then some instigators, like you said, turn it into, you know, either violent protests or police having to take, you know, physical action to get people moved. But yeah, man, I mean, this has been a part of my life since, you know, I was little. I've been a part, you know, a part to racism where it's been against me and my family, you know, growing up since I was young. I don't, obviously I'm not dark complected, and I don't, and I'm not black, obviously, so I don't get the worst brunt of it. But it's there, man. It's there, especially here in the South in Houston.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we stand with Black Lives Matter. We stand with you know, black people and African American people. And I haven't been silent, man. I don't know if you've seen my Twitter, but I haven't been silent. I retweet, I post, you know, whatever I can do. I have donated as well to some of these organizations, and I will continue to do so, man, because the little voice that I do have, I'm going to use, you know.
Yeah, I actually just last night donated to a YouTuber. His name's Ben Goddard, and he's been doing a lot of he did a lot of Twitch. He works with the Schmodown. But he did Twitch stream yesterday. I think he started at about 2 PST, so about 4 o'clock our time. And he went basically all night from 4 p.m. I think he ended around like 4 in the morning. So almost like a 12-hour stream, and he raised $11,000. And, you know, I wasn't able to donate a lot, but I was able to, you know, give what I could.
Man. Yeah, man. It's not about, you know, like I always say, man, you don't eat an elephant whole. You take bites out of it. So whatever you can donate, small here, small there, it's gonna add up eventually. You know?
Yeah, and it was I'm pointing out his stream because he even said that he had no more than 100 viewers at a time. It was just a small community that was just able to band together and put in $11,000. He donated it all to Breonna Taylor's GoFundMe.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So I'm loving what I am loving is that unfortunately what it took. I hate what it took for all this to happen, but this is the change that we need, I think, in this country. And especially seeing the young kids, like kids that are not even in their you know, older teens. Like, I'm talking about kids that are like 12, 11, 13, and out there and, you know, just trying to show love. And I think, because to me personally, that's the generation that the change is going to happen with. We're going to do our best in this generation, but that generation, the one that's out the ones that are out there, knowing right and wrong without having these unfortunate ideals that were kind of ingrained in other people our age and people older than us. It's those kids that are going to be the ones that are going to create change. And we have to do everything in our power to make it easier for them to achieve that change.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you know, as much as it sucks, you know, change is incremental. It doesn't happen overnight. We wish it would. Like, I wish it would. I wish it would have happened a long time ago, so these people wouldn't have died, you know. But it doesn't happen that way. So you're right. I mean, this is incremental change. You know, this is what, like, day 10 of the protesting, you know. So and then on top of that, you know, there's some stuff going down in the government as far as an anti-lynching bill and things of that nature. So things are starting to come up. You know, they're starting to have conversations about, you know, changing some things to you know, weed out these so-called bad apples or what have you. So it's going to take time, man. It's going to take time, but I can definitely see that this was a huge launching point from where we've been at in the past. You know,
Yeah,
like there is gonna, change is gonna come over this. Whether, like you said, it's with us or with the next generation, but change will come.
absolutely. And last thing I'm gonna end on this, for the for the people, especially people of the white persuasion, Caucasian, Caucasian persuasion, I guess, if you will. The best thing for you to do is if you are on the side of Black Lives Matter, you need to speak up. You need to speak out against injustices, especially people that you know who are of the opposite thinking. And for people who are of the other side, the all lives matter people, it's not time for you to speak. It's time for you to listen, because I feel like we have been speaking for too long. It is not our turn to talk anymore. It is now time to listen and learn. So that's all. That's the last thing I'm going to end on.
Absolutely, man. I agree.
All right, guys. So we are going to go ahead and jump into some big stuff that we've missed in these past couple of months, man. These past month, I guess. Yeah, because May.
Yeah, it's been about It's been about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, somewhere on there.
Seems like so much longer.
I know, man. When we get on streaming, man, it's like, especially when we're week to week, every week, like we get to catch up for the week. But whenever you miss a week or a couple weeks because of scheduling or timing or what have you, you miss a lot, and it's hard to catch up in one stream. But we're gonna do our best to do it, man, because there's just, like you said, so much awesome stuff that's come out from the only sport that's active right now, the UFC. Besides Korean baseball, I'll say besides Korean baseball, which is awesome as well.
You've been pushing that a lot.
Yeah, but there's been a lot going on in the UFC, not only inside the cage but outside the cage. So I'd love to get going on it, man.
Yeah. So what do you want to start with, the inside the cage or the outside the cage stuff first?
I mean, we could start inside the cage because inside the cage, I mean, there's been so many fights that have impacted the future of divisions that it's just amazing in a short amount of time. And honestly, man, like I told you, Dana White is two sides of a coin, man. So he helps the sport a lot, but he also hurts the sport. And we're going to talk about how he does that today. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he pulled off, 4 fights in like 8 days or something like that, or 10 days.
Yeah, 4 cards. That's insane.
So, I mean, he said he was going to do it. People doubted him. They're like, yeah, right. You already got the first one canceled, but he learned from his mistake and he pulled it off, man. He pulled it off. He only had, I think they said they did per fight card, they did minimum of 1,200 tests for COVID-19. And out of 4 fight cards, so that's what, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. So 4,800 tests. The only ones that tested positive were Ronaldo Souza and his corner, which they had been in contact with his wife who had coronavirus in Brazil. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's not bad, man. I mean, that's not bad. It's not the greatest. Like, it was bound to happen, but, that's a good start for putting in some procedures to make it safe for them to have those fights. So I'm really, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, that this is a good thing that Dana White did, even though it was controversial at the time. He was able to pull it off and manage it to the best of their ability, and it came off really without a hitch.
Absolutely, and it made for some fantastic fights. It made for some fantastic moments, and I think a lot of people that normally wouldn't have these spotlights were able to get spotlights. Guys like I'm looking down right here. You got Thug Nasty right here on this first fight card, and a great showing. You have guys like Vicente Luque, big knockout. And then you have the guys that everyone loves, Anthony Pettis and Donald Cerrone in that card. And then, of course, now everyone knows the name Justin Gaethje. Like that's a big thing, too, right there, is that everyone knows that name. And, yeah, I think it was great. There's a bunch of guys, even now, we're talking about last week's card, Gilbert Burns. People are talking about all over Twitter. Everyone's talking about Gilbert Burns. And how I felt about Gilbert Burns beforehand. But it's good to see. I like it, and I think the reason why I think, obviously, we saw why it was controversial to do this, but I was always on the side of, if the fighters are going to sign up for it, I'm okay with it, because it's not like on the bed. It's not like a NFL player or an NBA basketball player not having any other choice. Even they're contracted. Obviously, they have a choice to do that in the NFL and the NBA if they wanted to. They could sit down, but it's kind of like frowned upon, I guess. It's because it's the big bad, whatever. But these guys are signing on for these fights. Like they like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm ready to fight, you know. And I think when they're signing up for it, it was a little bit better. And you know, with the amount of precautions that they took is where I was like, yeah, man, if they're gonna take the proper precautions to do this, the first fight card went off without a hitch, like you said. Same thing with the other three, and then the one that I was worried for was this past one, was the Las Vegas one, where I was like, okay, you're traveling outside of Florida. How's that going to go? And like that went off without a hitch too. So now it seems like all these fight cards that have basically planned are going through. Is even this Jessica Ian Cavillo one, but the main event, like people that don't get main events are getting main events.
Oh my God, man, that's when you know we're in a different spot right now. But you know, to your point, man, I mean, yeah, they are signing up for it. But what I will say, and this is part of the conversation we're gonna have today, is, you know, some of them don't have a choice; they need to get paid. Absolutely. You know, so it's like, I mean, a lot of people that I know here, you know, they've been forced to go back to work and they don't want to because they're worried about the virus, but they have to get paid, so they're having to go to work. Yeah. It's the same thing, you know. If these guys, I mean, you don't see, and you know, we'll just tease it, but you don't see John Jones begging for a fight. I'm ready to fight. Put me in a fight. You know, he's looking for a fight, and if he can get paid what he feels he should get paid, he'll fight. But he's not desperate because he's already said he's made in the past over $5 million a fight, probably since he's been champion. Mm-hmm. So he's a millionaire. He doesn't need it. You know, it's his sport. And if he wants to fight, he can fight. But you got guys like what was the guy's name who said that he was gonna have to work if he didn't get
about to bring him up.
Yeah, what's his name?
Brandon Royval.
Yeah, Royval. It was gonna have to go to work and work a night shift just so he can make ends meet. And if he didn't get the fight of the night, or if he didn't get a bonus, man,
and he got that fight of the night though.
Yeah, so now he doesn't. He said he called in, but you know, that sucks, man. That sucks. These guys that are out there entertaining millions of people, you know, putting their body on the line, their future, you know, age, when they're retired on the line, you know, for entertainment and for glory, and they can't get paid a decent amount so that they don't have to work a second job on top of that, dude. Like,
I know
that's the other side of the coin with Dana White, man, where it just doesn't make sense and it gets really, really frustrating really fast.
Yeah, and a sneak peek to what we're going to talk about later. When you told me the number that John Jones asked for, I didn't believe the first thing I said was, that's not a crazy number.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, by any stretch, especially right now, man, it's like freaking supply and demand, man. Like,
right, absolutely. That's like a John Jones pay-per-view is selling out immediately.
Dude, a John Jones versus Francis Ngannou pay-per-view, dude. I mean, seriously, dude, that's like, and you know me, you know my feelings about John Jones. I don't like him. I don't like him outside the cage. I don't like his personality. I don't like the person that he is. But inside the cage, he's freaking Picasso, Van Gogh, Beethoven, whatever you want to say. He's a master in there, dude. And I would, you know, watch that fight. Like, that's a fight that I would be looking forward to. I'd be talking about it. I'd be excited about it. Francis Ngannou's on a tear. He has huge power. We saw this part of the things we're going to talk about with Rosenstruck, how much power he has. You know, it's
scary.
It's dude. And it's like, and he's going to fight John Jones, dude. You know,
sign me up.
Except Dana White, and Dana White doesn't want to pay.
Yeah, so we'll get into that, especially on this card, because we have someone who had issues with Dana White on this Gaethje and Ferguson card. This was the
first domino.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into the card. So, I'm just gonna stop on things that we really want to talk about. So, like right here, Ryan Spann, Sam Alvey. It was a decent fight. It wasn't a bad fight, but nothing exciting, I would say.
Well, actually,
very close fight.
Towards the last part of the fight, Alvey was coming on and Spann was tired, bro. Remember?
Yes,
he was tired, and Alvey rocked him. And if Alvey had maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute more, dude, he probably knocks out Spann because Spann was tired, dude. He was so tired, he was gassed. You know, but that's what makes the fight good, man. I mean, Ryan Spann dominated that first round, and it's funny because this was the first fight without the crowd, and you can hear Spann's corner telling him what to do. and you can see Span not doing it. So
that's why I love it.
It was funny. I was like, oh crap, this is fun. But it was a good fight. It was a good fight to start it, man. Like you said, nothing too crazy about it. Span won. We thought he was gonna win, but there was a little bit of at the end, like, oh man, maybe we can pull this out.
Yeah, and that's actually a fight that I didn't get on. I wasn't at home yet when that fight started, so I caught that third round. So when I caught that third round, I was like, oh damn, Sam Alvey won. So when I saw the decision, I was like, wait, what? And then I went back and watched, and I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, he dominated, dude. Span dominated when he's fresh, man, but when he's tired, it's a different story.
Yeah, because I think his last two, or at least one of the last fights, I know he won by knockout, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he likes to finish fights, and when he just showed that he needs to work on his endurance a little bit. He needs to work on his stamina, because that was missing.
Well, you know what? That was the first fight, and Joe Rogan on one of his podcasts afterwards talked about it, and I was like, oh crap, that makes sense. So because there's no crowd, the fighter can hear everything, right? So he can hear, and I'm talking about his corner. So when the corner says 1 2 1 2 1 2, they're gonna do that, and usually during the fight when there's a crowd, some of it gets drowned out. So now you're having a guy do everything the coach says, and we've seen it, man. A lot of these guys have gotten tired, dude, because they're doing everything the coach says because they can hear everything the coach says. Nothing gets drowned out. They don't get a break. They don't get to reset. They don't get to say, oh, I didn't hear him say anything. Let me see what I can see, and let me try to figure something out, And that was the first time when I was like, okay, that, like, when I went back and I was like, that's probably what happened. He went too much because his corner was on him, so much that he could hear it, that it burnt him out.
It's actually really interesting. I didn't even think about that.
Joe Rogan thought about that. He came up with it, and it makes a lot of sense because these guys don't get to reset, basically.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. One of our favorites, a fan favorite, I would say now. Thug Nasty Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa. And dude, I'm just upset he didn't get the finish. That Thug Nasty thing, because he had that twister in.
Dude, I'm upset he didn't get the twister, dude, because he had that twister. But
Charles Rosa, man.
Charles Rosa is not a joke on the ground, dude. So for Thug Nasty to do what he did to Charles Rosa, me and my buddy were talking about. My buddy trains Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's like, man, that dude is on another level. Like, for MMA Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like he's a natural. I mean, he's a natural because he's learned all this stuff off of YouTube, and I mean, obviously he has coaches now, but he's just a natural dude. He knows about body positioning. He knows how to move people's body. He's strong. He's quick. He's fast. He's smart. And he made Charles Rosa look like a scrub on the ground. And I'm telling you, dude, Charles Rosa is not a scrub on the ground, dude. He's not a scrub on the ground.
They mentioned that multiple times.
So I don't know, man. Bryce Mitchell is an exciting guy at 145, and I'm saying it now, dude. 145 is the best division in the UFC right now, man.
I might have to agree with you, but I'll also say the fact that you just said he's an exciting fighter, and he's a jiu-jitsu guy, so he's a ground guy, but he made that entire fight. So, like, how many times were you jumping up and down? Oh, he's got it. I was telling my brother-in-law, because I showed him I showed him the twister before that fight, and I was like, bro, you got to watch this guy. And then whenever we sat down and watched it, I was like, oh, he went for like 5 twisters. Like, he probably locked in like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but the thing too is that at least, I mean, he would have gotten anybody else, dude. He would have gotten anybody else in a myriad of different submissions.
That first one in the first round was the one that was legit locked in.
It was tight, dude. Yeah, it was tight.
That was the one that was by the bell.
Yeah, I was gonna say he got saved by the bell, dude. Because if not, he would have been out. But dude, it's just, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's exciting, but he needs a dance partner. Charles Rosa was that dance partner for him, dude. Because again, anybody else, they're tapping out in the first round, dude. So yeah, it was just everything came together in that fight, and it showcased Bryce Mitchell, man, and his future and his potential, and also his character, man, his persona, his personality, because he's a country dude, and he's a country guy, but when it comes to the shorts, yeah, dude, he's finally getting his camo shorts too, yes. So that's pretty exciting, man. I definitely want to see more of him, man. He's a very exciting fighter, very talented fighter, a young guy. He hasn't lost, so he still needs to learn how to lose, but we'll see if that ever comes, man.
Yeah, and honestly, if we don't have, if the main event doesn't happen, this fight is probably might have been like a performance of the night or something. But because
Exactly.
there were so many other two other performances that deserve to be shown, that's why
Dude,
he didn't get it.
it's interesting because these guys all want to be on stacked cards, right? Like they want to be on a card with a lot of exciting fights, but then it makes it more difficult for them to win the fight of the night, dude.
Oh yeah, man. All right. Let's go into the next one. This is one that I the first two. I think I was 1 for 1 or 1-1. So I had picked Ryan. No, hey, no, I might be 2 for 2 because I had picked Ryan Spann, and then I picked what's his name. This one I didn't know where it was gonna go with Nico Price and Vicente Luque because I know Nico Price is no slouch, but he got knocked out recently with that up kick. No, wait, no, sorry, he knocked out the guy with the up kick, right?
Yeah, he did those weird knockouts where he held the guy's head against his knee and then knocked him out from underneath, and then he did a weird up kick that knocked him out. So he's had weird knockouts in the past
Yeah,
couple fights.
and then Vicente Luque, just was just upstate, just was bested by a better fighter, I would say, when Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know where this fight was going to go, and this is a great fight. And it was a really great fight. Both guys are willing to bang, and then Vicente Luque with the power shot, man.
Dude, this was such a crazy fight. I mean, I had Luque in my mind because he already has a win over Price, but that Price is a different Price from now, and this Luque is kind of a little bit the same, maybe a little bit more shop worn because he's had some battles. But I picked Luque. I just thought he was going to do more, but I picked it in decision. I think it was going to end, even though both of these guys have been finishing. I just feel that they had so much respect for each other for their power, especially Nico being knocked out before. I didn't think he was going to be careless like he was. But man, dude, they were throwing bombs, and both of these guys were taking a lot of damage. And every second you thought, okay, Price has the upper hand, Luque would come back. Every time you thought Luque had the upper hand, Price would throw something, or he'd roll into something. I don't know. It was just weird. It was a crazy fight, but it was a good fight, man. And Luque ended up getting the best one with that, like you said, that monster power.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Next up, we have Carla Esparza and Michelle Watterson. This was an odd fight. I'm trying to think back because I haven't rewatched this one, but I'm trying to think back, and I'm thinking I was more shocked that Michelle Watterson was shocked that she lost. I think like it was one of those fights that was close. Neither one was doing enough. I felt like, but
Esparza was getting the takedowns though, right?
that's it. That's where I was kind of like, why are you shocked? Because Michelle Watterson was like visibly like. Her mouth was wide open, like, oh wow, like I can't believe I lost. But I think I had Carla Esparza too.
You gotta look. Yeah, let me tell you the total strikes, and you tell me who won. 48 out of 106. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, there we go. So I have it right here.
Esparza is 48 out of 106, and then significant strikes 45 out of 103. Watterson had 44 out of 98, and then significant was all 44 out of 98. So they were off by 4 strikes total, and the only difference is Esparza had 1 takedown out of 10. So she missed on 9 other takedowns, but she had 1 out of 10.
There you go. So I don't know. This is a weird fight. Like just neither one seemed like they wanted to really go all out. It was weird.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
It was one of those weird fights, and it wasn't exciting to me. This wasn't an exciting fight, and I think Michelle Watterson has the potential to be exciting. I haven't seen much of Esparza, so I can't really comment on her. But I know Watterson has the ability to entertain because of her fight with Joanna.
Well, Esparza's a past champion. She was a champion in that division. So, okay. And she has a win over Nama Yunus. So, I don't know, just more experience. Again, I don't know. Watterson just didn't do enough, man. You got to do enough. You can't leave it in the hands of the judges,
Yeah, and Carla just kind of she just knew to do just enough. Yeah, was what it seemed like. She wasn't exciting anybody. She wasn't wowing anybody, but she just did just enough to win.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have Alexei Oleinik versus Fabricio Verdum. And Oleinik this is one of those fights that I don't think really matters in the grand scheme of things. And Oleinik just kind of was dominant the entire time.
Yeah, Verdum looks old and slow, and he had ring rust, dude. Because that's the worst I've ever seen Fabricio Verdum, man.
Yeah, it was not an exciting fight to watch. And then a little bit more of an exciting fight. You have Anthony Pettis and Donald Cerrone. This one I don't remember watching as much. I think I had to go back and watch this one. So go ahead and you can take it away on this one.
I mean, it was one sided in my opinion. Let me see the strikes on it.
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, it was 81 total strikes to 62.
Mm-hmm.
Cerrone had 2 takedowns, and Pettis had 0. The problem was, man, like I had mentioned to you before, dude. Cerrone's face swelled up, his eye swelled up bad, real fast. So he was wearing the damage a lot more, and Pettis was just doing more, man. He was just in and out. He was controlling the octagon. He was just having his way. He was taking some damage, but not enough to take him out of there, not enough to get him tired. So it was really Pettis all the way, and this kind of to me proved to me that Cerrone's on his way down, man.
Yeah, and I think I would like to see him retire. Actually, obviously I wouldn't like it because Cerrone is a fan favorite. He's one of those guys that he'll take any fight, he'll fight anybody. But I think the amount of fights that he has it's actually kind of crazy that he's not talking like Nate Diaz.
Yeah, well, he doesn't usually take a lot of damage, man, and
maybe lately he hasn't. That's why I'm getting a little nervous because you think about his last couple fights, man. Like he's knocked out by Gaethje, pummeled by Ferguson.
But he's never been like knocked out cold, like concussion.
Yeah.
Where, you know what I mean? It's always TKO, somebody stepping in, or it's always body shot, or
the eye orbital.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it's never been like, man, that guy's taking a lot of hits to the head and he's knocked out cold, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but I agree, man. I think he should retire. I've been saying that.
I also don't know if this means much for Anthony Pettis, honestly. I feel like Cerrone should have finished this Cerrone.
Yeah, it just gives him another shot at a contender, basically, you know?
Yeah, I get it. All right, next up, this is the most frustrating fight on the card. The most frustrating fight on the card. So we all know how we both feel about Greg Hardy. Yeah. Greg Hardy is a POS human. I don't think that he should be in the UFC. I don't think he should be in sports. I think he should probably be in jail. With that being said, Yorgan De Castro killing him that first round. Killed him in that first round. Leg kick. It's destroying. I thought he was about to have another TKO by leg kicks.
I agree.
And then I don't know. They're saying that he hurt his foot. One of the kicks got checked. It probably broke his foot or hurt his foot.
It broke his foot.
Okay. And all of a sudden, nothing. No going forward. He was just kind of passive. And this it says a lot about. I'm not going to go too much on Yorgan because if he did break his foot, and the main thing you were doing was tearing that leg down. I get it, and then also Greg Hardy's power is a little scary. He can be a little scary. I think I have more to say about Greg Hardy because how do you not jump on that? How do you not jump on it? Like that shows that he's not a fighter.
He's not a fighter, dude. Well, again, he's not. I mean, he's only been doing it for like 3-4 years or something. But also, man, to speak of De Castro, it's awesome that he still fought with the broken foot, which is commendable. But man, switch up your stance or do something to try to get some offense going, and instead of just standing there like a freaking target practice. It was like a sparring session, man, for Greg Hardy, dude. After that first round, and I saw his foot. I was looking at his foot the whole time. There were some times where he was like lifting his foot to move, and it would burn to get off the ground. Yeah, but dude, do something, man. You got to do something because if not, I mean, you're gonna lose like this, and it's gonna look bad. Especially to Greg Hardy, dude. Like, I don't know. It just sucks, man. I feel like Greg Hardy is getting lucky on so many levels, dude. He's getting like, but it's pushing him up at that ranking in heavyweight, and he's gonna end up with guys that are not gonna play around and are gonna knock him out. So
Jairzinho,
we'll see, man. I don't know because Jairzinho, Ngannou just gave the blueprint on how to beat Jairzinho right now.
Rush him.
And
hold on though, because one of the fights that he did, the guy rushed him. He knocked him out cold. So I'm just saying that might not be the blueprint. You got to have Ngannou power.
Yeah, well, Greg Hardy does have power, man. We've seen him that he has power.
He does have power.
He doesn't have, but I mean, he's almost like an Ngannou light because Ngannou has way more skill and technique than Hardy. But that's what I'm saying. Greg Hardy doesn't have skill and technique. So maybe those wild punches, those overhand rights, overhand lefts while you're rushing in, maybe that's the thing to beat Jairzinho.
Possibly. All right, let's get to this one, man. This is the one I was excited for too. Jeremy Stevens versus Calvin Kattar, and man, what a knockout, dude! That was a beautiful. It was a knee, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Nope.
Was it elbow?
It was a elbow, dude.
Oh my god, it was disgusting in the most beautiful way.
Yeah, dude, it's where he like winded it up and then he threw it.
Oh yeah, and it landed flush.
Yeah, and it messed up his freaking
like
hit a face, dude. It was crazy.
And I don't really care for Jeremy Stevens. I don't have anything against him. I don't care for him. I wasn't cheering for him. But I mean, I'm not saying to take anything away. You get hit with that elbow, I think everyone's going out.
Yeah, man, that was. I mean, well, and that's the thing too. Jeremy Stevens is known to have an iron chin and a blockhead, dude. Like he does not get hurt. He's not. It's usually his body that messes him up, like body shots, liver shots, whatever. So whenever Kattar hit him with that, and he did the stanky leg, dude, the wobbly leg, and he fell back on it. I was like, holy crap, dude! That must have been so much force and so much power coming straight at Jeremy Stevens. And I don't know, man. It's the same thing with the Bryce Mitchell thing. You have to have a guy. You have to have a dance partner. You know what I mean? And Jeremy Stevens is there to throw. Like to this day, even after him getting knocked out, he still, if he fights Kattar again, he's gonna fight him the same way because he feels that he has more power than Kattar, and he's gonna stand in front of him and try to knock his block off. He just got caught this time by a guy who had a better technique, a strong enough chin to take his power, and it ended in a knockout, man. So that was a great fight, man. That was a great win for Kattar.
Absolutely.
Kattar's trending up. I want to see a 5-round fight between him and what's his name? Zabit, dude. I want to see a 5-round fight between them. Hopefully Zabit gets his endurance up because that would be a tremendous fight.
Yeah, man. And he even mentioned in his post fight interview, as he said basically, I can't start late like I did last time. I can't get started late like I did last time. I think he did start late in the first round. He did start a little late, but he changed it up in that second round, got the knockout, and I think that's what you need to look for, especially if you're going to end up going down a round and one, you got to be ready to fight. But I think he's going to get even better and better with each fight in starting a little bit faster.
Yeah, man. So that's what I'm talking about, man. I think if I'm not mistaken, Kattar was undefeated when he fought Zabit, and he lost. So this is him learning how to lose. Like, okay, I lost because I start slow, and in my past fights, I've been able to start slow and still win. But at the highest level, that's not going to happen. So he learned how to lose.
Yeah, he wasn't undefeated. He was 22-3 when he fought Zabit. But
no, he was 21-3.
21-3, right? 21-3.
21-3.
But
I think he was undefeated. I think he was undefeated in the UFC, probably.
There you go. Yeah, most likely. Because, he's only had a few fights in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But, yeah. All right, let's get to the 22nd fight. Francis Ngannou, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. A fight that I was really, really looking forward to. And it didn't disappoint, but not in the way that I wanted it to not disappoint.
Yeah, I agreed. I wanted it to be more of a banger.
Yeah.
I wanted Ngannou to get tested. But man, Ngannou's turning into the 2019, 2020 version of Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah, man, he's just swinging.
He has not only that, he has this aura about him. Like people are scared to fight him, dude, because he has so much power in his hands, and he's just coming at you like he's not scared, and he's intimidating, man. He's an intimidating dude. He's like 6'4". He has to cut weight to make 260. He's all chiseled, like and he's coming after you. He's a killer, like. He's not like he's not the same guy that fought Derek Lewis. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like the more measured guy. Like he knows his way to win is by touching your chin. So he's gonna come after you.
And I think that maybe that fight really woke him up to something that hey, like I gotta start letting this predator. Like, I'm gonna call the predator for a reason. I gotta start letting this predator out. And I think if you weren't scared of Ngannou before. After this fight, you were definitely – I was afraid of Ngannou. Like, I felt like he was going to come get me.
Dude, and it's so funny because all these heavyweights are saying, oh, the technique is horrible, but his power makes up for it, and he wouldn't do – man, get in there with him. Get in there with him. Get in there with him. If you're talking all this mess, get in there with him. Would you get in there with him? No.
Absolutely not. All right. But yeah, this is all this did. This just solidified that Ngannou needs the next title shot. If it's not going to be Cormier Stipe, Ngannou's got to be out there. He's
Yeah,
not.
and for Rosenstruck, man, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
I mean, in the past, he's had, even against when he knocked out Overeem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he has a bad habit of backing up with his chin straight up, dude. And he has to learn. He has to either back up and move his head, or back up on a angle and not go straight back, because your head is right there and they're just going to be swinging for it. So
absolutely,
hopefully he learns from it.
I hope so too, and I think he will. I don't think he's one of those guys that at least I hope he's not one of those guys that just keeps doing the same thing over and over again and hopes for different results, because that'd be upsetting. Because I think he has a lot of promise.
I agree.
All right, next up, bantamweight title fight.
Triple C. You missed you whenever you were doing your rundown at the beginning of the show. You mentioned Gaethje and all these other people, and you forgot about the one main guy who's probably had the biggest win, who's probably had the most for legacy, who's the 3-time champ, who wants to be C4 and they don't let him be C4. Henry Cejudo.
I was just mentioning people that are on the roster. That's all I was doing. I was mentioning people who are on the roster. I'm surprised this picture's still on the website.
Seriously, man.
WWE would have said, alumni.
Yeah, or they would have just watched it from existence, and he never competed. He never competed.
Absolutely. I'm just playing, man. I like Triple C. I like seeing the trash talk, and I sometimes want to see him get his block knocked off. I think this is one of those ones because I like Dominic Cruz a lot. I was hoping to see him get his block knocked off, and it sucks because I think Dominic Cruz is starting to pick up in that second round, and the luckiest knee I've ever seen him on.
That is not a lucky knee, man.
That was a kick. That was a kick. But what's his name was going for a takedown.
Yeah, so
I couldn't tell. It was a takedown or he was ducking. I can't remember.
No, he was ducking. He was doing his ducking that he normally does. And I mean, there was a lot of controversy about this, so we can go into that too. Cruz was upset. He was talking mess about Keith Peterson, which is the ref. I mean, that was a bad lick. Normally, Dominic Cruz is a better loser than this when he has lost in the past. Yeah, I don't think he's ever been knocked out. So I think this was something new for him. So when he did take that knee, I mean, you saw it too. His face was all discombobulated and disfigured because he was in shock, or he was, his body was reacting to it.
Yeah, and
he turned around.
He wasn't moving up until later.
Yeah, he turned around. He turtled up. He was taking, I think they counted 11 hits, unanswered. And Cruz was still on his. Well, I was getting up. What am I supposed to do? Well, you're supposed to protect yourself at all times. But here's a rub. Look at the time of the finish, dude.
4:58.
4:58. So Cruz's argument is, give me 2 seconds, man. I'm the former champ, the double champ. I won twice in this division. Coming back, give me 2 seconds and let me clear my cobwebs in between the round. And he didn't let him do that. So I think that's what was irking him more than it was an early stoppage. Because I mean, I could see it both ways. I could see it was an early stoppage. I could say, hey man, give the guy 2 seconds, but at the same time, later on, Cruz admitted that it was his fault for putting himself in that position, which means that he shouldn't have been ducking into that knee. As far as a lucky knee, I would say it's probably somewhat of a lucky knee. However, Cejudo did post on his Twitter where he had been practicing a knee like that, which wasn't a flying knee, just a straight up knee down the middle if he was trying to get taken down. Literally a week or two before, and it's consistent where he's doing that. So that's part of his arsenal. So I don't think it was. I mean, I think it probably started off as a kick, and then instinct took over midway through, and he just shot it up as a knee. But man, a lot of people did not like this fight. They said that he's avoiding the Sterlings and the Peter Yans and everybody else in the division, and he's fighting a guy who hasn't fought in so many days. But Dominic Cruz showed that he belongs in the division. He's a top fighter. But I also now, knowing what we know now, I also feel Cejudo was doing it on purpose, because if he's going to fight those other killers, he wants to get paid for it, so he took in his mind an easier fight against Dominic Cruz for the amount that they were paying him,
Yeah.
and that makes a lot of sense looking back at it, hindsight.
All right. So first thing I want to say is when I first watched the fight, like just in real time, I was upset at the stoppage. I was like, he's getting up. I wasn't even looking at the time. This is the first time I actually noticed the time. I didn't even notice that it was only 2 seconds left. But that doesn't change my thoughts now. My thoughts after seeing the replay and seeing other people talk about it, that was a lot of shots that he took before he actually started getting up. I thought it was less. It wasn't less. It was about, like you said, I think it was 11. So I get the ref, and as far as the 2 seconds, I get it. I can get why Dominic Cruz would be upset. If as a fan, I'm not going to ask the ref to give him 2 more seconds because I don't feel like the ref should even know that there's 2 seconds left. Like he shouldn't know. Like, oh, let me just let him take a few more punches so that he can get through the end of this round, because that could be even worse. It might not be. It could be though. And the ref's job is to not take that chance. The ref's job is to protect him no matter what the time says on that clock. So I'm gonna say that. And the second thing I'm gonna say is, please, Dominic Cruz, get back in the octagon, because I was excited about this fight, and when he started picking up in that second round, man, I was really excited. I was starting to get excited, so I hope that he stays around. I haven't seen anything he says yes or no, but I really hope he does. And third, because think about like Dominic Cruz versus Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen,
Dude,
Jose Aldo, like. Dude.
Yeah, dude. He'd probably beat most of those guys. The thing about Sterling is, Sterling fights like Dominic Cruz. I think Sterling is like the evolved version of Dominic Cruz. Like he conserves his energy more, but he does a lot of those switches and stances and awkward punches and awkward resets that messed up Pedro Munoz in the last fight. So yeah, man. I love to watch a fight, dude. I've always liked Dominic Cruz. He has that weird style that a lot of people copy. Like, Dillashaw copied him, but he was the first guy to do it, man, and it messed up a lot of people, man. That's why he was able to win so much, along with his wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was kind of excited about this fight. And again, I'm sorry, man. Henry Cejudo keeps winning, dude. He keeps winning. He keeps beating these guys that have way more experience, that have way more battles under them, that have, I don't know, probably a better avenue to win than he does, and he keeps winning, man. He beat Dominic Cruz, TKO'd him. Nobody's ever done that. He's beat Dillashaw. He's beat Marlon Moraes. So I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say about Henry Cejudo besides I like watching him fight, man, and I like his cringiness. Like it's a breath of fresh air for the UFC. It's something different. And leave it to the UFC and leave it to Dana White to get the best thing going for him, one of the best things going for him, and just say, nah, we don't want this.
Sorry, he's going to go to AEW.
Probably. He's too small, though, dude. He's so small, man.
I don't know, man. It's different because I see a lot of wrestlers that are small.
That small, though, dude. That small.
I don't know what his height is. And probably.
He's like 5'5" or 5'6" or something. Like, he's not even like...
I think there's a fighter in AEW right now who's about 5'6", 5'7", maybe. I gotta look up his height exactly. But and he's not as big. Like I think for Henry Cejudo, even though he's short, I think he is a little bit more stocky. And I think, dude, he's perfect for wrestling. He's perfect. He's perfect. I've been saying this from the minute I saw him.
We'll see.
Wrestling. And he's with it. All I know is right now he's hanging with his buddy Iron Mike Tyson, because Iron Mike Tyson's doing something with Chris Jericho in AEW. So that's all I know is him, and I know Sugar Rashad Evans was there too.
Man, second
about him getting in there, but
I don't know. Well, that's the thing. Do you think if Cejudo ends up going to wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE, that's the best use of his talent right now?
No, and I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the best place to get the money that you want either. Unfortunately, wrestling's not any better to get. Isn't that much of a better place to get paid?
Yeah,
it's not the best place. It's better than UFC, especially for like if you're like a smaller fighter and you're not, and maybe like, hey, I'm not going to be the best, so I'm not going to get those big paychecks. So you can go and maybe get like a steady paycheck in wrestling. In like WWE or AEW, but you're not going to get what you want, what they should get, because I think wrestlers are grossly underpaid too. especially for the schedule they have.
Yep, they need unions, man. They need unions.
Both of them do very badly. Which is, it's kind of, you want to jump in, you want to go ahead and give your piece on what's going on with John Jones and Cejudo, because it seems like maybe we're in the beginning stages of that.
I don't know, man. It's gonna take a lot, but after this fight, in the ring side post interview with who I think was it DC that had him?
No, it was Rogan.
Oh, it was Rogan. Yeah, Rogan did it.
Everyone was wondering why Rogan was in there.
Yeah, exactly. Cejudo announced his retirement. He thanked Uncle Dana. Which is a bad term for Dana. He did it on purpose, and he announced his retirement. He said he's taking everybody's legacy. He took Cruz's legacy. He took Dillashaw's legacy. He took Moraes' legacy, and he beat Demetrius Johnson. And he retired. Now, a lot of people, myself included, were like, this isn't real. It's not gonna be, happen. It's probably a negotiating tactic. And for like one day it was real, and then afterwards it came out that he was negotiating. Mm-hmm. He's negotiating because the UFC puts what's called a championship clause on the champions for any championship fight, whether you're the challenger or the champion. And the championship clause, what that means is, you're tied to the UFC indefinitely, forever, as long as you're champion. So they can't go anywhere. They can't do anything as long as you're champion. Mm-hmm. And that's what Cejudo's in now. He's in the championship clause, so he can't really negotiate with the UFC because his contract is never ending. There's no light at the end. He can't say, I'm going to fight 3 more fights and then, I'll leave as a champion. You can't do that. So he's stuck. So what only option do they have is to threaten retirement. And the first person to do that was Randy Couture back whenever he wanted to go fight Fedor Emelianenko in a different promotion. He wanted them to do a co-promotion, but they said no. So he retired, and then he waited like, I think it was 12 months, and then he tried to sign with that other promotion to do it, and they sued him, and it's just been a long process to get to where we're at with the UFC and their low pay for top athletes.
Yeah.
And the only thing that a champion has is retirement. So he threatened retirement. He retired, and Dana White, as usual, being the Dana White that he is, that he doesn't like to be shown up. He doesn't like to be called out for anything that he does wrong because he feels he doesn't do anything wrong. He immediately ran with it, and he said, "Okay." I mean, he put out a statement. I think it was in the post fight. Yeah, we're gonna do Jan versus Aldo for the vacant championship. Like that just to me is just poor promotion, man. It's like, how are you gonna say that that's for the title when the champion is right there? That's the guy to beat. So in my mind as a fan, those guys aren't champions. Those guys aren't champions unless they beat Cejudo. And it just sucks, man. From a fan's perspective, it just sucks because they have the money, dude. They're a $4 billion company. They have the money. They just choose not to pay their athletes, man, especially the top guys. So that was the first domino. So that was the first domino. It was Cejudo retiring. Now he's retired for real. I'm sure he's upset because they don't want to. I mean, they don't even want to negotiate with him. They don't even want to negotiate with him.
They basically just were like, all right, you're retired.
And there's so many good fights for him in that division, man. But whatever. So the next one was John Jones. So John Jones, I mean, he has somewhat of a point to what he's saying that he's beat all these guys in the division. He's actually gone through the division 2 or 3 times already. So he's beat the top contenders 2 or 3 times. The guys that are coming up don't do anything for him. He's already beat Santos. I mean, and this is on paper. Again, it's on paper. Because, we both think that Santos was a close fight. And we both think that Dominic Reyes was a good fight. That was probably, in my opinion, Reyes probably won that fight.
Yeah.
But he's beat him on paper. He's beat Reyes. He's beat Santos. He's beat Anthony Smith. He's beat Glover Teixeira before. Yeah, he beat Glover Teixeira. There's nobody in the division that's like, oh, man, he needs to fight that guy. Jan just has a win over Luke Rockhold, who was a 185er. That got beat up at 185 and was moving up to 205, and he got knocked out. So Jan, so yeah, so he has no fights at 205, man, and he sees that and he knows that. And so what he's saying is he wants to move up. DC doesn't want to fight him. DC wants to fight Stipe for the belt. So he's trying to move up to heavyweight to create some movement, some buzz, some spark, something. And so he calls out Ngannou, and that's a big call out, man. For him to do that, that's a big call out. So he calls out Ngannou. Ngannou's for it. Ngannou will fight anybody. So he says yes. So then they start negotiating with the UFC. They say, hey, let's do this super fight. And UFC says, all right, well, here's your normal pay. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna take that. It's a super fight. I'm going up, fighting a very risky guy. I'm not gonna take the normal pay that I get. I'm not fighting as a champion. I'm fighting as that he's trying to get from the championship clause. And they say no. And then he gets upset about it because Dana White puts him on blast and says that he wanted, what do you say? He wanted Deontay Wilder money.
Yeah, Wilder money.
He wanted Deontay Wilder money. And then Dana White clarifies that, and he said he wanted 30 million, and so John Jones felt disrespected because he said he didn't even do that. Dana White saying that he was getting text message from John Jones. John Jones says, release a text message because I didn't text anybody. So it's just this back and forth, this nasty back and forth. Dana White trying to win the press, trying to win the media, the what is it called? What it looks like, the public opinion, and John Jones trying to fight back. And then I told you, I think we have it in our chat that Dana White has this trick up his sleeve where he would call him out on the outside of the cage stuff, and sure enough he did.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, we don't even know he's going to be champion because he's going to be suspended, whatever. And John Jones got upset about that too. So John Jones also took it upon himself, vacated the 205 championship, set up Dana White and said, go ahead and put Dom Reyes against Jan for the vacant 205 strap.
He gave a date and everything. He even put a date on it.
For ESPN. And he just vacated his title because he's through with it, man. And this is a guy that's making the most probably out of anybody besides Conor McGregor. He's making $5 million a fight, and DC said he only made $3 million a fight. So he's making $5 million a fight, and he knows that he's underpaid, and he wants to get paid what he deserves, what he feels he deserves, which he does deserve more than $5 million a fight. And Dana White just shut it down and said, no, I'd rather take this huge black eye in the public opinion that I have two champions that are retiring in consecutive months, basically, because I can't pay these guys, and I don't want to pay these guys. And so now the third domino to fall is Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal has been posting on his Twitter saying that it should not be this difficult to make a fight because he's trying to get the fight with Usman probably, or Diaz fight, the return or whatever, the second fight against Diaz, and he's having trouble negotiating that fight. He's not a champion, so he definitely has more leverage, unless they did a BMF clause, which I doubt it. But he said on there on his Twitter that it should not be this difficult to negotiate a fight. So what does that tell you? That three guys at the top of their division, three guys with a lot of buzz, a lot of juice, with a lot of leverage, are trying to get more money out of the UFC, and the UFC is saying no, not even negotiating. And it's a really bad. If Jorge Masvidal does not get a fight, and I guarantee you, this is the other thing, John Jones, did speak up, but I guarantee you, Masvidal will speak up even more. He has no filter. He doesn't care. He's seen a bunch of promotions. He's been a part of a bunch of promotions. He doesn't care, man. So he's gonna say the truth. So I don't know, man. It's just a bad look for the UFC overall. Everybody knows that yes, there has been some downturn, but they're the only sport on TV right now. I don't know what to say, man. Besides, again, this is the part where Dana White is the bad guy, and they need somebody else besides Dana White because he has too much of an ego, man. He has too much of an ego, and he doesn't care that he's losing one of the best bantamweights of all time and flyweights in Henry Cejudo, and he doesn't care that he's losing the greatest of all time at 205 in John Jones because he can't keep this guy happy with money, man. Like, come on.
Yeah, man, it's bad. And the sad part is he's basically got the leading sports sports channel behind him. He's got ESPN behind him. So even though they had him on because they were talking about the upcoming fights last week, they had him on First Take. And he even mentioned that him and John Jones are having it out because they are like, oh, with the whole protest thing, are you gonna like allow your fighters to, you know, protest in any way they want to? And he told him, my fighters have the freedom to do whatever they want. I give them the platform to be able to, like, you know, plug whatever they want, say whatever they want, blah 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 blah, you know, whatever. And he's like, me and John Jones are getting into it publicly on Twitter right now over some pay. And then for some reason they don't even jump into that. Like, they don't even dig deeper. Like,
well,
I think as a journalist, no matter who you're working for, you should try to go after that. But unfortunately, when you're working for ESPN and ESPN put all this money into UFC, they have to, you know, do this. Like, one of my first questions would have been like, well, how much was John Jones asking for? And if he's like, oh, I'm not willing to disclose that, and we're like, well, then I can't make a ruling on how I feel about this. Like, how much is he asking for? 100 million a fight? Because then I'd be like, okay, well, that's a little bit excessive.
This is the question I would have asked him, dude. I would have asked him, with your champion at 135 leaving, and now your champion at 205 leaving, and also a top contender for the 170-pound Masvidal, you know, saying it's difficult to negotiate with the UFC. What does this tell MMA fighters that are trying to come into the organization about how you treat them and their pay? That's all I would have sauld said. You know, what would he have said? You know, listen. We got Conor McGregor who made $100 million to box, but not in the UFC. What would we have said? You know, he can't say anything because he's fucking. He's not paying what he needs to be paying them, and he knows that. You know, the other thing I was going to tell you about that too was, you know, the NFL has an agreement with ESPN, and ESPN has been on the NFL side for a lot of stuff, including the Colin Kaepernick stuff. You know, that they chose to portray it a certain way because the NFL is their big partner. They have memos out there that they send out to their reporters about what to say, what not to say.
Jamel Hill basically got canceled.
Exactly. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with the UFC. Like you said, they put a lot into the UFC. The UFC is basically their main partner for ESPN Plus, so they cannot have any bad light on the UFC. You know?
Yeah.
So that's one. The second thing I was going to say is, damn it, man, we're talking about the Reebok deal is done. The Reebok deal is almost done in a month or two. And if I'm not mistaken, the UFC is already trying to find somebody else. And they're also still negotiating with Reebok. But what I'm hoping is when they get that money, that they can use some of that money to pay their athletes better. Because the Reebok deal, in hindsight, even when it was signed, I was like, man, this is garbage. But they needed somebody big, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
And Reebok is a big name. So now they don't need that. Now they need the money. So whoever coughs up the money, and now they're seeing too, like Under Armour, Nike, Adidas are all seeing that the UFC is big. The UFC is mainstream. The UFC is on ESPN. They're a big name clothing provider is gonna be the next provider for the UFC. I hope that they get enough money where they can pay their athletes what they're supposed to get paid. But I doubt it. Even if they get that money, I doubt they pay their athletes, man.
That's where you said the U word. Union needs to happen.
Yeah, man. And like I mentioned too, the union was supposed to happen in 2006. They had two current champions at the time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 2016. I'm sorry, 4 years ago. They had George St. Pierre and they had Cain Velasquez. They also had Donald Cerrone and they had Tim Kennedy and a couple other guys. I think it was like 9 total guys. And they had some journalists too to be a part of it. The problem is they had this guy who was at one point CEO of Bellator, and he's just a shady individual. So I don't know what ended up happening with it. I mean, obviously it didn't come to fruition. I mean, it literally didn't even last a year. But it just tells you that fighters, champions like GSP and Cain Velasquez, and even Donald Cerrone were interested in it because they know that they need somebody to fight on their behalf, because right now it's just Dana White running roughshod over the entire fighter pool, man. And then you got guys like the managers like Ali Abdelaziz, who's, you know, bad for any. I mean, you put that guy in any other sport, he's not getting approved as a manager, dude. But you put him with Dana White, and he's one of the best MMA managers of all time now, for some reason. You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what to say besides there's going to need to be changing here. I don't know what's going to make it happen. I mean, he's losing 2 champions within a month because of pay. So I don't know what I don't if that doesn't motivate him and that doesn't move him. I mean, what will? What will?
Yeah, man, it's crazy, especially for like because maybe the John Jones one you can see, but like, man, you have Cejudo who is seems like a stand-up individual, hasn't gotten in any trouble, and was a double champion in 2 in 2 divisions. So it's like, come on, man, like you can't get something going with this guy. You won't even negotiate. It's a bad look, man. It really is. And then Masvidal ends up having problems. Oh, all this stuff, all this quiet. Like you don't see nothing from Cejudo. Cejudo basically did what he did and left it alone. John Jones, he had his Twitter back and forth with Dana, but has been quiet ever since. I don't think Masvidal is the one to make it where it wouldn't go quiet as fast as it went for both guys. I think it'd be a very long, drawn out thing where you would see text messages. You would see things like that, man. I think it would get dirty. I really do. I really think it would get dirty, and I don't know. Maybe that's what they need. If someone
Did you see how much Cejudo made for his fight? How much do you think he made?
I'm gonna say 100,000.
He made 350,000.
350,000. It's not enough, man. They should be. I think all champions should be hitting millions. If you're a certain draw, you should be hitting millions. And if you, I think fighters should really not be getting any less than like freaking like 10,000, maybe even more.
Which ones?
Like even like the smaller fighters, like the as we would say in football terms, the practice squad guys should be getting about like maybe 10,000 a fight, maybe even more.
No, they get that. They get like,
or what's the lowest? Have I seen any? They should be getting like 20,000, 30,000. Like it should be. They shouldn't be. I feel like no fighters shouldn't be working. They shouldn't be working an extra job. They shouldn't have to be working on a job. How the hell do you find the time to train? All right, let's go ahead and get into this main event because I know we're gonna be on this main event for a while too, and we're gonna have to run through the other stuff. But let's get into the main event, man. Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, the fight that I said Ferguson should not have taken. It was a very scary fight, a very scary fight, and we saw why it was a very scary fight. Aside from the one, was it a knockdown or at least he rocked him? The one time, was it the second round?
It was the end of the second round. He uppercutted him and he rocked him, dude. That was a nasty. But it was right at the end of the round, man. I mean, you could say that Gaethje got saved by the bell on that one.
Yeah, because you thought like, oh man, he's gonna come out in the third round and he's gonna get the finish. And then I was waiting for that Tony Ferguson, man. I was texting back and forth with my brother because my brother was going Gaethje, and I was like, man, Ferguson's got this, dude. Ferguson's a monster. He's an animal. But dude, some of those punches that he was taking were uncomfortable.
Yes, man, and it was made more uncomfortable because there was no fans, so there was no crowd noise. You could hear it all, man. You could hear it all, and because of the no fans, we get one of the best little times in the UFC that we've had that's gonna be played forever, which is what's his name? Damn it, dude, the guy from Joe Rogan. The third planet or 10th planet guy, Eddie Bravo. Yeah. Eddie Bravo screaming out, throw sand. Did you remember that or no?
I don't I have to go back and watch it, man. I don't remember that.
It's like the fourth round right before he gets knocked out or TKO'd. Eddie Bravo yells out, throw sand, like 2 or 3 times. And then Ferguson does this great trip. He does this weird, crazy trip.
Yeah.
He trips him, and then he does this whole little capoeira thing, and then he reaches to the ground like he's grabbing sand and he throws it at him. And it's amazing, dude. Like when I saw it, I was like, what the hell is going on here, man? But it's just funny. It's just one thing we get to see because of that, because of no crowd.
Yeah.
I also think that Ferguson was probably affected a little bit by doing everything his corner asked him to do.
Maybe.
I really do. But also Justin Gaethje, benefited from doing everything his corner asked him to do because,
Absolutely.
dude, in that corner, his coach told him, last time you got like this, you got knocked out. And he was like, and it centered him, and it's like, oh, okay, you're right. You got, and dude, he just had, I told you too, man. This is a sport about matchups, man. And this matchup for Ferguson, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna lose to Gaethje. It's just a bad matchup for him, man. He's just a bad matchup. He has a bad skill set for him. It's just bad. But I also feel that Ferguson is a bad matchup for Khabib. And I would probably venture to say that Khabib loses more than half of the time that he fights Ferguson because Ferguson is just a bad matchup for him. Now, Gaethje fighting Khabib, that's a bad matchup for Gaethje because Khabib is just going to dominate him on the ground, like he does everybody else. The thing is, Khabib has fought a lot of people like Gaethje, and Gaethje has never fought somebody like Khabib. So that's where the problem lies. But man, the Gaethje Ferguson fight, man, was a good fight until the third round, and in the third round, you started seeing all the damage that Ferguson was taking. You started hearing it. You started seeing that Gaethje wasn't going to go away. That nothing was hurting him. He wasn't being put in positions to get hurt. He was, he wasn't tagging him like full force or at the end of his punches. He was maybe clipping him here and there, as far as Ferguson clipping Gaethje here and there, but nothing substantive. Like it wasn't going to make a difference. And Eddie Bravo was on the Joe Rogan podcast afterwards, and they talked about it because they were giving him crap because they were saying that right before he got knocked out, Bravo was talking to him, and he didn't give him any advice, any real advice of how to turn this thing around, and that they probably should have thrown in the towel and saved their fighter. And Eddie Bravo had some interesting things to say. Did you get a chance to watch that or no?
That one I didn't watch. I watched the Gaethje and Trevor Whitman one. I haven't seen that one though.
Okay, so Eddie Bravo, man. I mean, there was some excuses in there, but also I understand what he's saying. He's saying he's not the primary coach. He's the jiu-jitsu guy. That's what he's always been. That's what he's comfortable with. He's never been a primary coach. And he's not going to be a primary coach because he knows his lane, is what he said. I know my lane. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. He's like, and with these new rules, he's like, they only let one coach in the cage at one time. He was like, so before the end of that round, I wasn't in there. If you look at it, there was a striking coach in there the whole time. And before that round, the striking coach goes, all right, you go in there and tell him something. And I'm like, oh crap, like I'm thrown in there at the last minute. I don't know what to tell him. I don't know what to tell him. Like, I'm not a striking coach. I don't know how he's going to be striking. I just know if you can try to get him to the ground. So that's why I told him pull guard, try to get him to the ground, try to do something, Yeah. And people didn't like that. People thought that wasn't a great advice for Bravo to be given to Ferguson because nothing was working. So he was kind of like defending himself, but also saying that it was just a bad spot because of the situation. And, and that's the other thing too. Like they said, we were never going to throw in the towel, and it's not because we don't, he said, hey, bro, I love him. Ferguson, I love him. He's like, I don't know, it's just a love relationship that they have with him because they've been together for so long. Mm-hmm. But I know who he is. I know how he is. I'm never going to throw in that towel for him, man. It's not going to happen. Like it's not something that they would do because they know the fighter of who he is and what he's done and what he's gotten out of and what he's been able to how he's been able to win after he's been being beat. Like it just wasn't going to happen,
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure like Ferguson probably wouldn't talk to Eddie Bravo if he threw in the towel.
Yeah, man, he'd be pissed off, man. He'd be pissed off, dude. But I don't know, man. It was just real interesting listening to Eddie Bravo and it also tells you the difference in coaches and coaches' mentality. I felt like going into this fight, Ferguson and his crew were maybe a little bit too confident, mm-hmm. Because they've been on an 11-fight win streak, and they've seen Gaethje lose back to back to Poirier and to Alvarez.
Yeah,
and they said if those guys can do it, we can do it. And Gaethje was just more focused, and even Gaethje said too in that Trevor Whitman one, he said that he was scared for that first fight because it was on like 3 weeks notice or something,
Mm-hmm.
I felt Ferguson would have probably won that fight because I don't think Gaethje would have been as sharp. But it's just real interesting, man. It's just a bad matchup. It was great while it lasted until it started becoming a one-sided beatdown. And then after that, I didn't care for, because I like Ferguson, dude. I just like his fighting style, and I like Gaethje too. Don't get me wrong, I like Gaethje too, but I just don't like to see fighters get to that point where everything they do doesn't work, and everything the other fighter does is landing with a lot of force. I just don't like to see that, you know. And that's where we were at in round 3 and round 4.
Yeah,
right. You got to the 4th round, right?
I got to the 5th. Yeah, I was in the 5th. You got 3 minutes and 39 seconds into the 5th. But one punch where he landed, and I think it was like a jab too. It wasn't even like a big uppercut or big hook. But you saw Ferguson shake his head, like kind of. It was like his body was like maybe shutting down, and his heart was like, no, like come on, we got to keep going.
Yeah, and he was like grabbing for something, and that just looked ugly, dude. It looked like his brain was misfiring, dude.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's probably like his body was shutting down on him, but his heart was like no, like we're gonna keep going no matter what. And thank God Herb Dean stepped in when he did. But yeah, this is like you said, this is a great fight for a decent amount of time, and then all of a sudden, like he became uncomfortable for a long like you said, probably the 4th and 5th rounds. It was just uncomfortable because he's taking hits, his head snapping back on these punches, dude. It's not like he's just like eating them and like, but he's rolling with them. He's not rolling with the punches, like he's coming forward.
The sweat was flying.
Yeah, sweat was flying. He's coming forward, head snapping back. The sound that the gloves are making upon impact was very, very disturbing. But I will say this doesn't make Ferguson not El Cucuy. Like it even make him even more. Like he kept coming forward.
Well, dude, that's the thing. And Justin Gaethje said he hit him so hard, dude. Like he couldn't believe it, dude. Like he couldn't believe. And you know, that's a testament to Gaethje too, in his mindset, because a lot of guys like Gaethje who are big knockout guys, once they hit some guy with all their power and he doesn't go down, they get deflated. They're like, holy crap, I just hit him with everything I got and he didn't go down.
Yeah.
You know? But credit to Gaethje where he's like, nah, I'm gonna keep hitting this huge stone and eventually I'm gonna put a dent in it, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's a big win for Gaethje too from a mental standpoint. But yeah, dude, like I'm telling you right now, man, like I hope because Ferguson has had trouble fighting fights.
Mm-hmm.
I hope people think that Ferguson is an easy out now.
They can handle him now, because dude, it happens every damn time that like a fighter that's supposed to win loses. It's always the little haters come out of the woodwork. Oh, Ferguson's trash. The same people that the day before I was seeing talk about like Ferguson's a monster, blah blah. Dude, that fight didn't make me think Ferguson was trash. That fight made me think that Ferguson's a monster. That fight made me think that Ferguson wasn't human.
You line up the 100 and what is it, 55-pound division, right? Line them up, and like 9/10 out of them are knocked out by like the 2nd or 3rd round. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they can't be in there that long like Ferguson was. So that, to me, if I'm a fighter, I'm like, holy crap, man. You know, Gaethje's one of the strongest hitters in the division, in the UFC for that matter. And it took him 5 rounds to knock this guy out. You know, I can't hit as hard as Gaethje. What am I gonna do? You know what I mean?
It was literally, if it would have went to decision, it would have been 4 rounds to 1. But he only got the 1 round, and maybe he only got that 1 round because he rocked him
at the end. Yeah,
because like there was a bunch of times that Ferguson should have went down, should have been rocked. There were times that he got hit and just kept moving, kept going forward. And Trevor Whitman says it in the interview with Joe Rogan, is that Tony Ferguson is just made of something different. Like he's made of something different that most guys, when you hit them that hard, they don't keep moving forward. They shrink. They become small. They go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
But Ferguson just kept moving forward. And what scared me the most is that Ferguson even said at the end, like, I gotta work my way back up. That means basically he said, I want another fight. Like let's go. Like, who wants to do this? Like, who thinks that I'm trash? Please, you'll fight me.
And the other thing too, man. So I also think that a full camp for Ferguson to fight Gaethje might be different. And the only reason I say that is because Eddie Bravo was saying that they were so focused on ground fighting because it could be that they knew it was going to go to the ground, you know. And then you got to switch it up to Gaethje, who you know is not going to go to the ground. So now you got to start from scratch and kind of see how Gaethje fights. So I just think a full camp. It might be the same outcome, or it might be a little bit different. I don't know. I just feel that I definitely want to see it again. Not right now. I still think Gaethje's going to get his Khabib fight after all. Ferguson, hopefully somebody challenges Ferguson and we get to see him win, again. And then maybe Gaethje and Ferguson go at it again, man. But with a full camp and under regular circumstances or more normal circumstances, and it might turn out different, man. It might be different.
Yeah, man. So let's go ahead and jump into, because there are more things that I want to talk about in terms of Justin Gaethje. In that interview, one of the things that I really liked hearing was that Gaethje saying that, or Trevor Whitman saying that when he first started training Justin Gaethje, and I think I heard Trevor Whitman is a really good trainer because he doesn't train a lot of people. Like, he trains very, very few people because he wants to dedicate his entire time to them and to what they need. And he was saying that, he told Justin Gaethje, like, what do you want? Like, what do you want out of this? I can't train you unless I know what you want out of this. And Justin told him, I want to be the most exciting fighter. I want to, like, no matter what, like, I want to go in there. I just want to put on a great show for everyone and all that. And then he said when he started winning, I think it was after the Barboza fight, that either the Barboza or the Cerrone fight, that Justin went to Trevor and was like, I want gold.
Yeah.
I want gold. And Trevor Whitman told him, well, then we need to change some things up. Like, some things need to change because what you're doing now is not going to work. You're going to get knocked down by somebody. And I think we saw that starting to kind of unfold in Gaethje in this fight, of him being more calculated, him listening to his coaches, him doing everything that he's supposed to do, not rushing in, even though he had him, going backwards. And I think it was the first round.
Yeah.
First round, he had him going backwards, and normally, like you said, he would have rushed in and maybe got clipped or maybe got tired,
or maybe got cut. Maybe got cut.
Because I've heard that he's got. They're saying constantly that Gaethje has like a crazy good gas tank, and I think that helped show it because he was constantly throwing and still seemed like he had some power.
Yeah. That was the reason why it was a bad fight for Ferguson, because Gaethje has a gas tank, and the people that he normally fights don't have as big of a gas tank as Ferguson, but Gaethje does. And on top of that, Gaethje has a chin, and on top of that, Gaethje has a lot of power. So it was I'm telling you, it was just a bad matchup for Ferguson, man. If Gaethje didn't have one of those things, if he didn't have the power to stop Ferguson, then it would have been a tough fight for Gaethje. If he didn't have the gas tank, then he probably would have gotten finished. But he had all those things going for him. So, yeah, dude, his gas tank is legit gas tank. He's going to keep coming forward. He's going to keep coming with all that power through the end of the fight. That's the thing, too. Like, he had the same power in the 5th round that he had in the 1st round. And that's crazy,
Well, and so what really interests me at first, because we're hearing all about the wrestling from Gaethje, and I don't know, because I think I've only seen like one video of him like suplexing somebody, but it wasn't in a UFC fight. It was in a wrestling match. So or it might have been an amateur fight. I think it was. It wasn't a wrestling match, but it was a UFC. I think it was a amateur fight. Because that's what he said that he only did whenever he first started fighting, was he just wrestled. He didn't even know how to throw a punch. And all that stuff from Trevor. That's what Trevor said. And then he, discovered that he likes to hit people. And, that's usually a good thing when you're fighting people, is if you hit somebody and you like it, it's probably a good sign that you're in the right business. But so I'm interested to see what happens with him and Khabib. But what really interested me was when talking about fighting Khabib, about like game plan. I don't know how smart it is to put your game plan out there, but saying that he's going to do that. Basically, he's going to do everything in his power to stay away from the cage, because a lot of what Khabib does is he gets you up against that cage and he just grinds you. He digs his head into your chest, wraps his legs around your legs where you can't move. But he and I remember seeing it in both the Dustin Poirier fight and the Conor fight. A lot of his takedowns are into that cage where they're in the seating position. So I'm wondering if maybe he's seen something, or if he's, reaching, or if this helps, or maybe it might not even help. Maybe you can have that, because some guys you could have the perfect plan, but that person is just too good. So I don't know. I'm interested to see. I am interested in this Gaethje fight, Gaethje and Khabib fight.
I'm not. I'm just gonna tell you, man. The guy that Gaethje lost to, Dustin Poirier, is basically what Gaethje is now. A guy with a lot of power. who had the perfect plan, and he'll tell you himself. He said it on Twitter plenty of times. He said in interviews they had the perfect plan. They were saying the same thing: get away from the cage, don't let him wrap his hands, you know, fight him in certain spots, and don't fight him in certain spots. And Dustin Poirier said, as soon as I felt him and felt his power and his strength and his wrestling, he said it was over. Like, I couldn't do anything. He said in between rounds, I can't get him off of me. You can't get him off of you, man. Like, he is such a high level MMA wrestler, dude, that no, I don't think anybody, unless they're a high level MMA wrestler like him, is going to be able to stop him. And then when we get one of those fights, it's just going to be basically a stand-up fight. And that's the thing too. Like the Iaquinta fight with Khabib, I fully believe that Khabib wasn't trying to take him down and smash him, like he says. I fully believe he wanted to strike more, and he struck more with him, and he still won because he was trying to get better at striking.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, man. Like I've heard it before with Khabib and other fighters that they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that. Now here's another thing. If they fight in Apex, that helps Khabib a lot because that octagon is small.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot of real estate there that is not the cage, the actual cage itself.
Yeah.
So if I'm Gaethje, I'm telling UFC, no, man, I need a regular size octagon because I need more space to be able to not be up against the cage.
Hey man, if they bend over backwards to make sure that Khabib can keep his title, even though he's trapped or he's got Ramadan or all this other stuff. Basically, because honestly, it seems like he's only going to be able to defend his title once a year because he's got all this other stuff that he has to do. So it's like if they're willing to bend over backwards, like, hey, even though I'm an interim champ, you don't say that when you announce me as a champ. You said lightweight. I mean, you said lightweight champion of the world. I want my fight. We're gonna figure this out together. If you can't come up with something, then I don't know.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. So it's just, I don't know, man. The deck is stacked against Gaethje. I don't want to see that fight. And the reason why is it just goes back to a puncher's chance. He has a puncher's chance because if not, we've already seen this fight. We've seen Khabib maul Poirier. We've seen him maul Conor McGregor. We've seen, and that's the other thing too. Like, is Gaethje a better striker than McGregor? I mean, honestly,
in terms of technique, no.
So what does that tell you? Conor couldn't touch him.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just, and Conor's left-handed too. Which is an added wrinkle. So Khabib had never seen a left-handed guy before for the most part. Now he's seen a right-handed guy like Gaethje, 10 times, 100 times, a million times. So I just don't see it happening, man. I hate to be pessimistic about it. It's just a bad matchup for Gaethje, just like he was a bad matchup for Ferguson. So I'm calling it now. I'm picking Khabib, So
it probably is, and I'm probably gonna pick Khabib too because I'm not betting. Because if you bet on Khabib, that'd be dumb because you're not gonna make any money.
You gotta bet like $1,000 to get $100 or something.
Yeah, it'd be ridiculous. But if you're gonna go Gaethje, go big.
Bet 100, you get 2,700 back or something. I don't know.
All right, so I'm looking at this Smith Teixeira card. Is there anything you want to go over? I'm gonna go ahead and go over. You stop me. Chase Sherman takes out Isaac Villanueva via knockout TKO. Hunter Azure loses to Brian Kelleher by a knockout / TKO.
Well, that was your boy, and Kelleher looked really good. I mean, that's all I got to say about that.
All right. We have Omar Antonio Morales Ferrer taking on Gabriel Benitez by decision. Beats him by decision. Anything?
I don't remember that fight.
That's fine. I seems like this is more like this isn't that much of a very memorable card. It seems. Sajara Eubanks takes out Sarah Morris via decision.
That was a bad fight.
All right. Thiago Moises submits Michael Johnson.
Nah, I mean, Michael Johnson's on the decline, dude. That's all.
I honestly think the only thing we need to talk about, one, I guess we could talk about. Well, I'm gonna go over. Andre Arlovsky beats Philip Lins. Ricky Simon beats Ray Borg.
And that fight was a good fight. The Simone and Borg was a decent fight.
All right, I'm gonna check that one out. Drew Dober takes out Alexander Hernandez.
That was a good fight.
All right, I'm gonna check that one out. Ben Rothwell takes out Ovin Sanprou.
That fight was not a good fight. Just because Sanprou normally fights at 205 and he went up to heavyweight just to fight. you know.
Yeah.
And Rothwell just used his power. But at the end of the fight, this is one of those things where, like the Sam Alvey Span fight, Rothwell was tired, and St. Preux almost knocked him out with like seconds to go, dude.
Hey man, I think like the first, because I hadn't really known much about OSP when I first started getting back in the UFC again, and then I was like, and then the first couple fights I saw, I think he lost 2 in a row, and I was like, all right, well, okay, and then all of a sudden now he's starting to like pick up some victories here and there. It's very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then the main event, the absolute slaughter of Anthony Smith.
Dude, I did not see this one coming. I'm disappointed.
I like Anthony Smith a lot.
Yeah, I know. I'm disappointed, dude, because Glover Teixeira, I mean, he freaking manhandled him, dude. He manhandled him. And he messed up, dude, because he had Teixeira rocked and in a bad shape. I think it was the first round or second round. And he didn't jump on him. He didn't pounce on him. And the reason he didn't is because he's had in the past where he gasses. But guess what? You didn't pounce on him and you still gassed. You know what I mean? So it was bad. They were talking in between rounds, and or actually during the fight, Teixeira was telling him he's sorry. I'm sorry, Anthony. I'm sorry. And Anthony Smith was replying, "It's MMA, man. It's MMA," while he was getting pummeled.
Yeah, like that point, it's like like I know you don't want to throw in the towel, but at that point, just like like we're both not having fun in here. Like
he
having a good time.
He was pummeling him, dude, pummeling him, and he would just do just enough so that they didn't stop the fight. But it's just it was a bad look, man. I mean, he tumbles down. Glover Teixeira is like 50 years old, and getting beat up by Glover Teixeira is not a good thing.
No, it's not, man. It's not. And you know I like Anthony Smith a lot, and this is a bad look. All right, next up we have Overeem Harris card, and let me see how much I remember from this card. It was a while back ago. Starting from the bottom, now we're here. We have Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira taking on Dontal Mays. That submission. I don't really remember much from this one, honestly.
I don't either.
All right. Courtney Casey takes out Mara Romero Barella. Don't remember much about that one. We have Nate Landwehr taking out Darren Elkins. Don't remember much about this one.
Oh, I remember that one. That one's a good fight. You should watch that one.
Giga Chikadze takes out Erwin Rivera. Kevin Holland takes out Anthony Hernandez. Oh, this is where I want to start.
Yeah, you remember?
Yes, Miguel Baeza knocking out Matt Brown, man. And this was one of those ones that I think anyone could have got knocked out because they both got knocked out in the first one.
Yes, man. It was. I mean, this. The only reason this one was good is because you had the young buck who was able to take the punishment, and then the old guy who's already had too many wars, and he just couldn't take it anymore, man. But this was back and forth. Both of these guys, like you said, could have been knocked out, and it just so happened that Brown ended up getting knocked out.
Yeah, with a beautiful kick. Definitely. That was one. Every now and then there are those ones that I have to show my girlfriend where I'm just like, dude, look at this. This is nasty. And that was one. That was definitely one. All right, so this one, and this is one that I have to go back and watch because I don't remember much. I remember it, but it was so hard to pick a winner. Song Yadong, Marlon Vera. Song Yadong gets the win, but controversial decision. A lot of people were thinking Marlon Vera won, and I don't know who I picked like right off the bat, like after I saw it.
I had Marlon Vera winning when I saw it. He was outstruck by 4 total strikes. But he had two out of 3 takedowns, and Yadong had 0. I don't know, man. I just had Vera winning. I felt like he was more effective. Again, he had those takedowns, and he controlled some time. But I don't know. Yadong won, man.
Yeah, I remember it being a good fight, though. I do remember that. And then I didn't watch these last 2. Eric Anders loses to Christoph Jocko. And then you have Dan Ige beating Edson Barboza, according to everyone, another controversial decision. What did you think?
Yeah, I had Barboza winning that one as well. Ige outstruck him by a lot, by 13 strikes, and he had 1 takedown. But dude, just the amount of damage that Barboza was doing, like this is one of the classic ones of
don't worry about the numbers.
No. Of it's what do you like more? You know, a lot of like weak strikes, a lot of them over time, or do you like power that like less power that affects the fighter more? You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Hmm.
So like Ige would hit him 10 times, but Barboza would hit him once and time he'd be staggered. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I had Barboza.
Okay. This one, Claudia Gadella gets a big win over Angela Hill. Well, I don't know, big win. I think it would have been bigger for Angela, but Claudia Gadella takes out Angela Hill in a super, super close fight. Probably the closest of the ones that I mean. I don't know because I didn't see the other two, but I would say at least closer than the Marlon Vera versus Song Yadong. This is one I did not know. I honestly didn't know who I would pick. Like I would have probably given it a draw or something. Like
Yeah,
both ladies got almost knocked out the other on multiple. I think on a couple occasions. So it was almost tough.
yeah, I would probably say maybe a draw, and I would say a draw because Hill did have a knockdown. She knocked down Gadela by hurting her.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have gave it like a 10-8 round on that one, and that would have been a draw in my opinion. But I mean, it was really close, and they gave it to Gadela. I can't get mad at it, like because it's so close, you know.
It's not a rob. Everyone, listen. When it's a very close fight, no one got robbed. No one got
Hate
robbed.
it. That's such a robbery. I mean, look, dude, that's such a robbery. It's literally 92 strikes versus 93 strikes. You know what I mean? Like,
One strike. Gadella had one takedown. Like,
yeah, dude, like, come on, man.
I hate when people say that's a robbery. It's not a robbery. Like it's gotta be like blatant, like where it's gotta be like that Houston car.
Yeah, dude, like a Blaine one.
Yeah. All right. And then the main event, man. Alistair Overeem, Walt Harris. Walt Harris's first fight after the unfortunate, murder of his stepdaughter. And this sucked, man. I really wanted him to win, and I thought he had him in that first round, man. He knocked him down. Unfortunately, Walt isn't a wrestler, and he went and tried to do some ground and pound. And Alistair's an experienced veteran who knows how to get out of that situation. And literally at the end of the fight, at the end of that first round, Alistair Overeem probably won that round because of what
Yeah,
happened. He would literally
even though
stayed on it for like 3 minutes.
even though he had gotten knocked down, dude.
It's crazy, and then it just went right back to. I think it was another. Was it even a knockdown or was it a slip?
It was no, he slipped because he tried to throw like a kick or something. I remember something like that.
Slipped, and Alistair just jumped on him, man, and that's the the experience from Overeem, knowing what his opponent is bad at. Like he literally saw that he couldn't do anything in that ground and pound situation, and Overeem was like, okay, like I know that I can just bum rush him and he'll go to the ground, and I can handle it there. And I don't even think he really Walt Harris even really got hurt. I just think that the ref just had to call it because he was just laying there. He was literally on his stomach.
Yeah, just taking punishment. So you gotta defend yourself, man. If you take too much punishment, they'll stop the fight. If I mean, and it was so early in the round. I mean, they stopped it at 3 minutes of the second round. The ref is not gonna let you take another 2 minutes of that beating. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna happen.
Absolutely, and it sucks because you want to see the best from Walt Harris because of what happened. But a great show of respect from Alistair Overeem after that. I think Alistair's probably one of the more professional guys in the UFC. So him that was a beautiful moment. But yeah, and honestly, this didn't do much for the heavyweight division. I don't think Overeem just got the win back from probably a very very late loss that he got in his last fight against Rosenstrike. He was winning
Yeah,
that.
he was winning that fight, man. He was winning that fight.
Exploded. His lip blew up. Like
That's crazy.
Nothing you can do at that point. All right, and let's go ahead and jump into this last card, man. This is an exciting card. Probably besides the pay-per-view card, the more exciting card.
I agree. I definitely agree.
With the Gilbert Burns. And you know how I feel? I was not expecting much from this fight card, honestly. I mean, not fight from the fight card. I wasn't expecting much from the main event. I was just kind of like, because I don't really like Burns. I don't know why. I think it was one of his fights where he had it was just boring. It was one of the most boring fights I ever saw. And then like right after, and then he was like bragging about it. I don't know. There's something about that. Like he is like going on like talking about like how badass he is. But It was the most boring fight I ever saw. But then right after that, he gets the knockout on Damian Maia. And
that's a big one.
he knocks down Tyron Woodley twice. So I'm not gonna hate the guy anymore. I'm just don't do what you did that first fight I saw.
Well, dude, the thing is like he normally fights at 155, and so him going up to 170 has made a big difference for him.
Yeah, he said that he doesn't have to cut weight. Like,
yeah, dude,
is ready at all times now.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like that. Remember, I told you back probably like a year ago, where I was like, man, maybe this is a trend where all these guys are gonna move up, because I think Pettis did the same thing. Like he just when they cut weight, it just takes too much out of them, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the advantages inside the cage don't really translate. So a lot of these guys are moving up to one weight division above. I mean, same thing with Anthony Smith and Thiago Santos. From 185 to 205.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad, man. I'm glad we got a good fight, and we have another contender in the division.
Absolutely, and I mean, and up and down the card, man. It was a very exciting fight card. Like right off the bat, you had 4 finishes.
Well, dude, the first one was a freaking leg kick finish, man.
A leg kick finish, and I was watching it with my buddies, and I told him like, man, that's fun. That you don't get that often. You don't get like those leg kick TKOs, but dude, his leg was burger, man. Like it was nasty.
Yeah, dude, he could barely stand up afterwards, man. He was limping.
Yeah, man. I think I saw someone posted not a TikTok, but it was a Twitter, some video on Twitter where someone was like, casual fans say, "Oh, leg kicks don't even hurt that bad," and someone gets kicked in their leg, and they're like, "Ah!"
Well, they show the one where Chuck Liddell kicked that dude in the leg. Oh. Like, so some guy interviewed Chuck Liddell and like begged him, "I want to take one of your shot. I want to take a jab to his head, a punch to his stomach, and a kick to the leg." And he did all of them, dude. And the leg one was the worst one, dude.
Dude, that's crazy. Do you remember over here on the Buzz when Tito Ortiz was there?
No, I didn't get a chance to, man.
Dude, and they convinced Tito Ortiz to choke out Alex.
Oh, he fell asleep, right? He fell asleep.
Yeah, it was quick, dude. Like he was like, he had him, and he was like, "Are you ready?" And he's like, "Yeah." He just squeezed it. He just went out. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, shit. Man. Those guys know exactly where to choke you out at, man, to stop the blood from going to your brain.
They're killers, bro. They're killers. All right, here we go. We got Lewis. Oh, good. So once again, good on Chris Gutierrez. Like when you get a TKO on leg kicks, it's always impressive. It's never not impressive.
Exactly, man.
All right, next up you have Casey Kenny taking on Louis Smolka. If I'm not mistaken, Casey Kenny lost his last fight. I might be mistaken, but you know what? I'm thinking of the wrong guy. I might be Hubbard. I might be thinking of Hubbard. They look the same. All white people look the same.
No. Kenny lost. He did. Okay, he lost to Skidishvili. Remember? Yeah. Merab Vadishvili was this old guy. He's a real old guy.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. So I was like wondering, like, how's Kenny gonna look coming in this fight? I think at first I was like, oh no, like it looks like he's backing up. He's like Smolka's letting him. Smolka's kind of like backing him down, but then he rocks him in the middle of that round and goes right into the submission. And
it's over. Yeah.
Wow, like that was a beautiful submission too. Like,
yeah,
was it one-handed guillotine?
Yeah, it was a one-handed guillotine. It was tight, dude. It was so tight, dude. But I think that's what a lot of fighters should be doing more of, man. Like when they rock somebody, I mean, especially if you're good on the ground, dude. They're on the ground already. Try to get a submission, man.
For the ground and pound.
Yeah, dude. Instead of that, because the ground and pound kind of gives them more time sometimes, especially with their legs up. Just try to go for a submission, an arm bar. They stick their arms up like they don't know what they're doing. Arm bar, leg lock, something, man, just to get it over with. And that's what he did. He got in a one-handed guillotine, which is not ideal by any stretch. And he pulled it off, man.
Yeah, it was beautiful. All right, next up we have why did I go all the way to the fight of the night? Fight of the night winner, Tim Elliott versus Brandon Royval. Yeah, man, and Royval looked good in this fight, man. I'm happy for him, dude. I'm really happy because I mean you didn't know the whole thing beforehand. You didn't know about the job until he's literally crying in his interview saying he doesn't want to go to work tomorrow, and then they gifted him with the fight of the night, and well earned.
Dude, can you imagine, dude, if he would have lost and had to go to work the next day, man?
I'd be pissed. I might not go in. I might.
Yeah, dude, I mean,
I think either way he was calling it.
yeah, especially if you lose and get whooped. But he did a great job, man. Tim Elliott is I think the gatekeeper, like of all gatekeepers. He's
Mm-hmm.
just a very tough guy, and if you don't got your stuff together, he's gonna beat you.
Yeah.
And Hoival was like, nope, not today.
Dude, and my friend said something that I'm very proud of. When he saw that this was the flyweight, he was like, "Man, those flyweight guys are exciting." I'm like,
Yeah,
they're never not exciting. They're always
that's true.
They're
That's true.
fast as hell. They they went. Especially when you see them, like if they start sprawl or like what is it? What do they call
Grappling.
it? Grappling, and they're like going all over the place, dude. Like all the transitions and stuff. It's a lot of fun, man. So
Well, they already announced, man. We get to see the championship fight again, dude, between Figueiredo, and Joe B.
yeah, man, I'm excited because, like you said, that headbutt probably messed Benavidez up. So, but I like Figueredo a lot. So we'll see.
Let's see if we can make weight this time because he didn't make weight last time.
God damn, make weight. All right, next up we have Jamal Hill knocking out Clidson Brady, which this is the Jamal Hill that I wanted to see in his debut fight that we did not see. This was much better.
Yeah, dude, he looked huge at light heavyweight, man.
Yeah, he does look really big, man. And I don't. Is this a Brady guy? I feel like he's been knocked out a couple times.
Let me see.
So he might have a glass chin. I don't know if he does, but he might.
No, he got a nope. He got a decision loss in the last fight, and the one before that he beat Sam Alvey.
Okay, I'm tripping.
And yeah, he's won three decisions in a row, which were one win and 2 losses, and then he got knocked out.
Okay, so this is the one that was. I mean, so that makes it even better for Jamal Hill. Honestly, like it looks good, and good to see you living up to what we were supposed to see in that first fight. Because that first fight I was kind of disappointed. I really was. Next up, we have Daniel Rodriguez, Gabriel Green. Dude, Daniel Rodriguez destroyed Gabriel Green, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, we got hold on real quick. We got
Did I miss one?
No, we got real quick breaking news.
Jorge
Masvidal has tweeted, "If I'm not worth it, then let me go."
That's not a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good sign. All right,
and
so
he added ESPN.
Ooh.
Okay, hold on. We got some more history lesson for all the new fans that might have just started following my beautiful sport. 16 years I've been at this. Never once turned down a fight. Asked to go fight number 3 at the time in his hometown across the pond after a year off. KO of the year nominee. Asked to fight number 5 at the time, and let's be real, didn't have to fight him. Fastest KO in the history of the UFC at Madison Square Garden. I'm asked to fight 3 different guys, and I said yes to all 3. I have fought in backyards, and those dudes never disrespected me the way I'm being disrespected now.
Wow, that's a very strong statement.
And then he posted a GIF of the Joker, and it says, "If you're good at something, never do it for free."
Absolutely, that's one of my favorite quotes from a movie. Mm-hmm. That's the truth, man. I'm on his side. I'm on his side completely. All right,
this is not a good look for the UFC.
No, it's very bad, man. Masvidal, I'm like didn't I say Masvidal's gonna be one of those guys that keeps talking? He's gonna keep saying gonna keep saying something until he's gone from that contract. He's gonna keep talking. So, I don't know. Dana, the ball's in your court. All right, next up we have Daniel Rodriguez, Gabriel Green. Daniel Rodriguez looked really good in this fight, man. I don't think I've ever he looked really good.
Yeah, this is the second fight that he's looked really good. He fought against Tim Means in his last fight in February, and I mean he put it on Tim Means, man. Tim Means is also a journeyman. He's a journeyman, but he's not a gatekeeper. He's just a journeyman, but he's very skilled. He's been in the game a long time. He's had a bunch of big wins too. And this guy just put it on him, man. He just has very crisp boxing and striking. Mm-hmm. And the last one he against Tim Means, he got a submission, and this time he gets a decision in what was really like a blowout, man. He just won the whole fight. Yeah,
I don't think Green had any answer for him. And honestly, I think when you have guys that especially me, I don't know much about, but you can be dominant like that for 3 rounds and still like you can keep going. That's pretty good. That looks pretty good, especially for that gas tank.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have the. Honestly, this is. I was surprised that people were. I'm surprised she's not the favorite. Caitlin Chikagian versus Antonina Shevchenko. The only reason she's not the Chikagian is not the favorite is because she lost to Valentina, and I don't think that should make you not the favorite, especially when I haven't been impressed by Antonina.
Yeah, dude. Everyone, on Twitter was saying that Valentina got the good genes because Shevchenko just looked like she doesn't even belong in there, man.
Mm-hmm. It's another fighter we're going to talk about that. We're going to say the exact same thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, she got all the good genes. Chikagian was just handedly like no matter what Shevchenko was trying to do,
shut it down.
Yeah, she just shut it down. Like Chikagian, first of all, Chikagian probably shouldn't even be fighting Shevchenko because she's the top of the division, and just because you lose to the best fighter in that division doesn't mean you should be fighting someone like Shevchenko, like Antonina. I should say Antonina, because she wasn't even near her in terms of skill. I think it's a joke that Antonina is the favorite here. She's a 135 favorite in terms of the odds. Chikagian was a 115 underdog. That's insane. Like Chikagian won what, 4 rounds?
With Valentina?
Yeah, before she got TKO'd. She took a roundhouse kick to the head.
Yeah, I think it was 3 rounds. I'm not sure though.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of upset. Like I don't even, I'm not like a huge fan of Chikagian, but I was just like, this is kind of disrespectful. Disrespectful.
Well, she proved it, man, and now I don't think Antonina is gonna be a.
She's not gonna be. She might not be around for very much longer. The only reason she might stay around is because of her sister.
Agreed.
Maybe it's in Valentina's clause or something. All right, next up, for another performance of the night right here, Mackenzie Dern submits Hannah Cifers. Does what she couldn't do in her last fight. She could, because I think in her last fight she could not take her last opponent down to the ground. She was having such a hard time, Mackenzie Dern, and she made weight, which is a surprise because she's known for not making weight, but she made weight and was able to take her down basically, and it looked like a scramble that Cifers got into, but she got that leg trapped. And as soon as Dern got a hold of that leg,
it was over.
Yeah, she wasn't letting go. Because I think at one point Cifers was standing up and Dern had the leg. If I'm not
so that's a traditional way that jiu-jitsu players get people down. I mean, if you go back and look at what is it, Frank Mir versus Brock Lesnar, mm-hmm. he did the same exact thing, and he got the same exact submission, which was a
knee bar.
A knee bar, against Brock Lesnar. So it's something that's known. It's not something that's new or cool or different or exciting or unique. So Hannah Cifers just basically dropped the ball on this one, man, and didn't know how to defend it. Just like Brock Lesnar, who was new to MMA, didn't know how to defend it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what happens when you don't know your basic jiu-jitsu. They use these little traps and to see if you know, and if you don't, then they get you in these leg locks. And the thing about leg locks too is I feel leg locks are a lot scarier than chokes, because in leg locks, if you don't tap, they can do some serious ligament damage, and you can be out for years while they do. I mean, look at Dominic Cruz, who had to have ACL surgery multiple times. That's what a knee bar does. It messes with your ligaments. So as soon as they hear some popping, they'll tap, and that's exactly what Lesnar tapped to, because he said he heard popping, so he tapped. That's what happened here, man. She got that. She didn't know how to defend. Cifers didn't know how to defend, and so it was easy work for a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist like Mackenzie Dern.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people were asking, why does Mackenzie have a accent? I saw it all over Twitter.
Nobody knows, man. That's the whole thing about her, man, is she wants to play up her Brazilian heritage, even though she was born and raised in Arizona and then moved to California later. But it's just, I don't know, man.
I mean, whatever floats her boat. I'm not gonna get mad at her. And I said that she had a hard time in her last fight. She fought Amanda Ribas. Like Amanda Ribas is probably one of the top girls in the UFC right now, in my opinion. I think she can be one of the top girls in the division. But yeah, so Dern gets the big win, gets the performance of the night too. Good on her because she is a mom. So I'm always in cheer for the parents. Being a parent, that extra 50,000 comes in handy.
Yep.
Next up, you have Roosevelt Roberts, Brock Weaver, a guy that I love a lot. I did love a lot. I don't know if I do now. Brock Weaver taking on Roosevelt Roberts, and this is the other one. Brock looked like he doesn't belong.
Yeah, Brock looked like he doesn't belong. He also didn't make weight. And so that, I guess, Roberts took it as disrespectful. But Roberts just looked on point, man. He looked fast. He's long. He's smart in there from a timing and setup perspective as far as striking goes. And man, he just dominated, man. He just dominated. Weaver couldn't get inside of the range. I mean, Roberts, one of the things that he was landing was a lead. Was a lead right hand? It was his opposite hand. And when you land one of those, that's what Mayweather's known for, landing the lead right hand. And it's, if you think about it, it's the hardest punch to land if it's a lead hand, because if it's a lead punch, because it's coming from so far. But Mayweather does it because he's so fast, you know, and that's exactly what Roberts was doing. He was landing that lead hand, the off, not the lead hand, so it's the off hand. So if it's the right hand, and that just showed me that he was way faster than Weaver, and Weaver couldn't do anything about it, man. He couldn't get inside the length and the range. So it ended how it ended. It was a submission in the end, but it would have been a knockout if he didn't submit him, because he was just getting anything he wanted to do on Brock Weaver. Brock Weaver does look like he doesn't belong right now.
Yeah, man, it sucks because I honestly thought after his contender series, I thought he had it. And he's got the talk, he's got the look, but for some reason, man, like, it's just not coming together. You miss weight. Obviously, that first fight, you had that unfortunate knee, but at the same time, you were in the position to take that knee. Like, you shouldn't have been in the position to take that knee in the first place, because he wasn't winning that fight. He was backing up, which I don't think is really should be his game plan. Like, I don't know what he's expecting to accomplish backing up, especially when you're supposed to be this warrior, this animal who gets into the octagon and becomes a different person. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he looks scared, man. He looks scared.
I don't know. It sucks because I liked him a lot, man, but it's just weird. Next up, we have Billy Quarantillo taking on Spike Carlisle. And the only thing I want to bring, because I don't remember much from this fight, but the only thing I want to bring up is how stupid are you? The round's not over. You get up and you turn your back. That is an unprofessional thing. You're going to get hurt like that. Seriously hurt.
This fight is a tale of two different fights, basically, because in the first round, Carlisle was messing up Quarantillo, man. I mean, he ran out there, he did like a jumping push kick and put him down, and it was beating him up, dude. Like, was literally beating him up. Like, I was like, man, this fight's gonna get called here pretty soon. And then he recovered in the second round, started coming back. Carlisle did that dumb thing at the end of the round. By the end of the fight, the third round, Carlisle was exhausted, man. He was exhausted, and Quarantillo just kept putting the pressure on and beating him, man, basically beating him down. So I mean, I see it as a bad loss, especially too with that thing that he did, the turnaround. Carlisle does have some potential. He has to work on his gas tank, and honestly, this was at a catch weight.
So neither guy could make weight.
Yeah. So no, I think it was Carlisle couldn't make weight, and then Quarantillo just stopped cutting weight because he's like, why am I gonna push myself?
Oh, okay.
So either Carlisle needs to learn how to cut weight, or maybe he needs to fight at a different weight, because he's very stocky and like very muscly, and those muscles require a lot of oxygen, man. So I don't know, man. It was a good win for Quarantillo. He looked bad at the beginning. He pulled it out, but I definitely want to see Quarantillo fight, and I also want to see Carlisle, see if he can shore up some of those deficiencies that he had in his fight.
Yeah, okay, so because there's two things. So one, in his first fight, he hadn't even fought. He didn't even have a professional fight. He was 0-0. It seems like because he's 1 now. Like Carlisle?
No, he beat a long Cruz in his last fight.
No, I know, no, but he was but I'm saying his record now is 1-1. So that means before he fought Elon Cruz, did he not have a professional fight?
No. I don't know if that's the UFC. That's probably in the UFC because on here he's 9-2 now. He was 9-1 when he fought, or he was 9-1 when he fought Elon Cruz.
Okay,
8-1.
maybe you should hear them. But yeah, so first of all, with the Elon Cruz thing, we've talked about it before. I don't agree with the what happened because I believe that he punched him in the back of the head, and a lot of those punches were to the back of the head. Even though when they're showing the replay, I'm assuming they're told multiple times, "Hey, don't mention that those punches are to the back of the head." Because you have Michael Bisping and Daniel Cormier talking about how those are fantastic punches. Like, no, they're the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the thing about Spike Carlisle is he's got that unorthodox style. He's going to come at you with something crazy, and it's going to throw you off. Hence the big pump kick that knocked Quarantillo down. But he maybe lacks the gas tank, two, maybe the technique to be able to mix in some actual technique with those crazy moves. So, because I mean, you can have all the crazy moves that you want, but if you can't, if that's all you are, you're going to end up being Michel Pereira. And you don't want to be Michel Pereira, like at least at the moment, like you don't want to do that. So you're gonna have. I think he needs to work on his technique. He needs to work on his gas tank. He needs to maybe control himself a little more. He's a little too jumpy. Like I don't know. And there's something about guys that are jumpy, like they're uncontrolled.
Well, it's wasted. It's wasted movement. Playing basketball, growing up in high school. The coach said, all that dribbling, it's just wasted movement, wasted energy. Do it with the purpose. Whether you're trying to, make the defender go one way so you can come back the other way, or whether you're trying to get to your teammate to pass the ball, it's the same thing, man. It's wasted movement in MMA, and if you have a bad gas tank, you shouldn't be wasting movement you shouldn't move just to move. You need to be moving with a purpose to either cut off the cage or to slip a punch, or not just jumping around and trying to, I don't know. I don't even know what they're trying to do, man. They're just trying to look more active than they really are, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you're not Clay Guida, man. You're not Clay Guida.
Exactly.
The only guy that I've seen can do that constant moving is Clay Guida. And I mean, he pulls out results sometimes. Especially early in his career. Like maybe not now, but he's a little older. So I don't know, man. This is and I'm not gonna. I just can't like pass that standing up in the middle of the fight, like turning your back on your fighter in the middle of the fight. Like if I'm Billy, I'm taking that personally.
Exactly. I think that's how he did take it.
Yeah, because he like Billy, he got up, he ran at him. It wasn't like an MMA punch. Like the way he threw that punch was like a street fight punch.
Yeah, like who do you think you are turning your back against me?
Yeah, so don't do that again, Spike. But yeah, I mean, I would like to see him fight again. He's an exciting fighter. Like there's no doubt about it. Just if you keep it being exciting, but you're not pulling out results, like it's gonna be bad. All right, next up you have Blagoy Ivanov taking on Augusto Sakai, the man that no one can kill in Blagoy Ivanov, even though someone tried. Against Augusto Sakai and Augusto, they were. I remember them talking a lot about him and saying that he needs that big win, that big statement win. I don't know if this was it, but he did add another name to his list.
I mean, I just these guys are both like I think Sakai's on the way up, but I don't know, man. I didn't see anything besides Ivanov being able to take a lot of punishment. Basically. And not being knocked out. Other than that, I didn't really see a lot from either of these two guys, man. I don't like if those guys ever come up in another fight, I wouldn't be like, oh man, I want to see these guys fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. All right, let's get to the main event. The shell of himself, Tyron Woodley, taking on Gilbert Burns. And the way that I described this fight to some people was this is the former champ trying to get back to his glory against a young, hungry up-and-comer that's just looking to fight. Like, literally, he's going to accept any fight that he possibly can probably right now. Well, not now that he's number 2, but at the time, accepting fights. He's on 5-fight win. This is how I watched the UFC pre-fight show. He's on a 5-fight win streak. The last 3 are in the welterweight division. The last 3 are in the welterweight division. Well, now he's on a 6-fight win streak.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's on a 6-fight win streak. 3 of them are in the welterweight division, 3 of them are in the lightweight division. This is big for Gilbert Burns. All of a sudden, people are talking about him versus Usman. I personally think he needs one more like signature win, maybe like a Leon Edwards or a Colby Covington or something. You know, one of those guys that are at the top. Obviously, we're not going to get Masvidal because I think Masvidal should be fighting for the title, not fighting anybody else. But yeah, I think Gilbert Burns needs one more fight and one more win. And the only reason I say that is not because I think he needs the practice, because we already know that him and Kamaru Usman are training partners. But so I'm pretty sure they know each other very well. He can, handle himself. I'm saying more along if you want to sell this fight. If you want to sell this fight, he needs one more signature win that's like a highlight reel.
Yeah, but if he doesn't get it, then what is it? Like I think too that he had to call out Usman, man. Like if he doesn't call out Usman, then the people are gonna start saying, "Oh, he doesn't want to call out his training partner or this or that." So I'm actually glad.
Oh, I am too. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have. I just think personally, as like when you look at, no one knew who Gilbert Burns was until this. You know what I mean?
No casual fans knew, but we've seen him on a tear. We've seen him, when he knocked out Damian Maia, I was like, okay, this guy,
he's real.
He's coming up. He's motivated. He's hungry. He wants to fight the top guys. But yeah, I guess I would say he probably needs one more.
Maybe Colby might be the best one to fight him, because it's the closest you'll get to Kamaru without actually fighting Kamaru. Maybe.
Man, it would be a bad fight for Covington, man. It would be a bad fight for him. But yeah, man, maybe we see one more. Maybe we see him go straight to Usman. Usman's having trouble finding a dance partner. He already beat Covington. Woody's not going to be there. Masvidal's having trouble fighting as far as money goes. So he might be the last guy standing. And he's I guarantee you right now, he doesn't care about money. Like, I mean, he cares about it, but he's not going to be like, okay, you're offering me $1 million to fight Usman. No, I want $3 million. He's not going to say that. He's going to say yes. So he might be the guy, dude. Unfortunately for you, because I know you want to see him fight one more, he might be the guy.
I'm not going to be opposed to it, because I mean, this is even though he knocked out Damian Maia in very quick fashion, I think this was his best showing. You dominated Woodley wherever it was. You wrestled him to the ground. You rocked him. You knocked him down twice. Even though you can make the case that Woodley's not who he was, but I also make the case that Gilbert Burns has won 6 fights in a row for a reason. Like, and two different divisions, and it seems like he's a lot more comfortable at this division. Like, he's a lot more comfortable at this 170 weight class. So. If you want to strike while the iron's hot, why not? Don't. If this is the fight that you want to make, then pull the trigger on it.
His last loss was 2 years ago against Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker, the Hangman, and that's a different division. That's crazy, man. Like, to be successful as he is in two different divisions is impressive. Like he said, he's always ready to go because he doesn't have to cut weight anymore. Now he just basically walks around at his fight weight, which is, I think, should probably be where the sport goes, personally. But, it is what it is. But, yeah, Gilbert Burns won me over. I mean, I'm not going to – like I said, I would like to see him fight one more, but I will not be opposed to him going straight to Usman.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I want to see Usman fight,
Yeah, that's the main thing is fight. Defender.
Yeah. Don't be like Khabib once a year. Once a year Khabib is what they call him now.
Basically, because he gets hurt, and then right after he heals, or he either gets hurt or gets suspended, and then right after that he's got to do Ramadan. Like, or he gets trapped in Russia.
Or the coronavirus comes and he has to jump ship. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, let's go ahead and just we have the main event for next week, or not next week's, tomorrow's card.
Yep.
I'll be watching with my family. I'm going to my dad's house to gonna have some crawfish, gonna have some beer, swim by the pool, and that night watching UFC. It's gonna be a good night.
Yeah,
so we got, and there's some really great fights that I'm really looking forward to on this, man. You have, of course, Amanda Nunes taking on Felicia Spencer. Very interested to see where this goes. Obviously, I'm still going to go. Yeah, I'm still going to go Amanda, but, this is going to be probably a more interesting fight than people realize.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, man. Like she's an underdog, but she's like what they call a live dog. You know, like she's not gonna go over there to just lose. And I think she's been. Have you been seeing the embeddeds?
No, I haven't.
All right, and the embedded, she's just saying this thing over and over, like I'm there to win. You know, I'm not just there to fight. I'm there to win. I'm there to win. I think as much as her telling people, I think she's also telling herself, because as we know, Amanda Nunes is the boogie woman, you know, in 2 divisions, and she's a tough out, man. But we've seen Felicia Spencer, you know, go up with the big dogs, Cyborg, and you know, probably most people think she probably won that fight. Maybe, I don't know. So she's not like out of her element. In other words, she's not going to be scared of the spotlight. She's going to be there to try and win and try to upset Amanda Nunes. And honestly, I think Amanda Nunes needs a loss, you know, because she needs somebody to like motivate her, push her, because she's just dominating everybody, dude. You know what I mean?
And with their enemy, she just kind of skated by. She almost lost.
Yeah, dude. And I feel like that gets like a lot of champions get to that point where they're just at a it's not a challenge anymore. Like, I'm gonna beat this person again, you know. And they get, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just a time where she gets, you know, she looks past this opponent, or it's just another opponent, and she doesn't really, you know, and also with the circumstances of coronavirus and stuff, maybe she just doesn't take it as serious, man. I don't know, but I think it's gonna be a good fight. I don't think it's gonna be so heavily one-sided, you know. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, basically. So we're gonna go Amanda, but I'm not gonna stick on that. I'm not gonna stone, honestly. But all right, man. Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you at. Oh, before that, just guys, look at, if you have a chance, please watch tomorrow's card, whether it be the early prelims, the prelims, because there's so many fights. Aljamain Sterling taking on Sandhagen. You got Sean.
That's a big fight. Yeah, Sean O'Malley's fighting again.
Sean O'Malley's fighting again. You got Askren's son, Chase Hooper's fighting. So it's gonna be a great time. So make sure.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of good fights on that card. We were very brief today because we had a lot of stuff to go over, but we'll definitely hit this card up next Friday for sure and go into it in depth. But yeah, man, it should be exciting, man. It should be a lot of great fights.
Absolutely. So let them know where they can find you, man.
They can find me. Wrong one again. Right there at The Real Jesus on Twitter. That's spelled JEEZUS, giving you my hot takes and then stuff going on in the world today, especially here in Houston. And I'm always open to a conversation, man. Hit me up. Yes,
and you can find me on Twitter at Alec Miller 0423. That's a platform that'll be probably used a lot more in the future. Once again, love and prayers out there to everyone that's out there protesting. Be safe, be vigilant, be aware, and you know, keep each other in check, guys. Don't leave it in the hands of the police, because we've seen that they can be irresponsible. So just do self-police, police each other if you have to. Be safe, and keep fighting the good fight. See y'all guys next week.
AMF.